Hello, Mover.
Hello, Gonky. Hello, Wombat.
Yo.
Hello, Douglas. Good.
Well, this is starting off great.
Perfect.
Good job, Doug. Thanks. Thanks for...
Wait, I missed it. What happened?
We just started the show.
Nothing.
Nothing new.
Who unmuted me?
No one. You are in a do loop with yourself. Circle at the floor.
Nothing going on at 8 p.m. on Monday. Nothing. So.
Yeah. That will be reflected in your employee evaluation. Hi, Wombat. How's the beef?
Well, I'll tell you what I don't like. I feel like there's a little call sign bias going on here with some of the guests you have. Like you got people like Skid and Spike. I'm starting to think that my call sign's not tough enough to be on your show. Is what this is all
just
about.
Call you Bat.
Dude, they're Air Force guys, man. They got to have cool
Spine Ripper.
Right. Exactly.
Viper. It's like, come on, man.
Pretty much.
Wow. Yeah, but then there's like the Navy, where it's like SpongeBob SquarePants. You know, I mean, you guys don't Snappy McButterpants.
Wombat, Peaches,
Pampers. Bit of Pampers.
Everybody is somebody.
Yeah.
And nobody all at once. How was your
I'm just
weekend?
happy that you let me back on.
We're gonna do that.
Sorry.
All right, that's fine. Yeah. It's good.
Nope, I thought you were done.
No, I was just go on to the next thing.
Well, Mover, thanks for asking, sir. I am well, even though I just got I'm rejected. I've been rejected.
Stop it already. I remember my first rejection back when I was like,
if that was the first
old.
one. If that was the first one, we'd be in much better shape. That was the final rejection. Is what
It's
that
not
was.
the final. Like,
It's the final rejection.
Mover and I applied to go fly some fast jets, and we got told no. But it's okay. I'm okay with it. But
now, what make them tell you no is the answer is no. Sometimes no.
When you're
It's
almost
no.
50, no means no.
It's a no with a polite, please consider future opportunities.
Did you ever think, Gonky, that maybe
We're blacklisted.
Maybe at your age, it's because the sorties are longer than your bladder?
Dude.
I mean, they factor prostate issues into these things, man.
No, dude.
I'm okay with it, man. I mean, I am.
Yeah, you are.
Anytime you get rejected for anything, it's a
Tell
little
me about it.
it's a little sting. It's a little
Tell me about
a little
it.
sting to the ego.
Oh, is it now? Do tell. I'm all ears. I'd love to
Yeah.
hear what it's like to be rejected from something you want to do. Please.
Yeah.
You have the floor.
No, I'm just saying, man, it just stings a little bit. It's fine, man. I mean, it's not every opportunity is for me, and this may be it or it may not be. So I just keep optimistic for the future and just roll with it. But yeah, other than that, man, my weekend was really good. Did basically the dad thing. We got some good friends that he's retiring from the Air Force, and his kid and my kid are pretty close. They ride dirt bikes on the weekend, so next weekend's our last weekend together. So this past weekend we spent all day out at the track riding, having a good time. It was fun watching my kid, play with all his friends out there. So I'm just doing a dad thing, man. But Mover, how about you, man? How's your weekend? Okay, cool. And
I'm bad. How was your weekend?
I don't even know what I did this weekend.
Oh, wait, it's 4th of July too. Yeah, we had a party.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we went
made
to the
money,
parade.
bragged about it.
I didn't make money. I didn't work.
Did you go to a parade?
We did. We took the kids to a parade. They have a good little parade here that the kids like. And neighbors shot some fireworks in the cul-de-sac that kept the dog upset, which was cool. And that was about it, man. Just kind of low-key weekend. But it was nice, So
Okay.
no complaints.
Doug, how are you?
I'm pretty well.
All right, good talk. This was all fun.
Yeah, this is
Glad
going
we've
to
had
be
such a
good.
good
We
show.
really need to turn.
What's wrong with you,
All right.
Doug? What kind of news did you get today?
I
Oh
didn't
my
get any
goodness.
news. My voice is just shot. I'm perfectly happy.
From all
Wait
the
a
yelling?
minute. Didn't you
No
guys hang
adjustment.
out this weekend?
We did Saturday. Was
Was-
fun.
Any more was it 9 mil in the 5.56 or the 5.5?
No, still getting those hate comments, which I always love. People telling me never to shoot again.
Yeah, it's proof that we're stupid.
Yeah, we're
Well,
just
shooting is scary, and
40 IQ.
Guns kill people, so
There, hold on. This caught my attention. There is somebody in the chat whose username is Tiny Dancer, but says their warthog is a spirit animal. Is that Skid's alter ego? Is this Skid?
Oh, dude. That's
Oh,
funny.
man.
That is
That's-
funny. No, he's no. Well, unless
It's
Yes.
T-Bear.
Yeah, it might be T-Bear, dude.
T-Bear. The T stands for Tiny Dancer. I get it now. Okay.
So how hard was it to get that 9 mil out?
Well, that was part of why people called us stupid, because I didn't wear
Oh.
my hearing and eye protection while I was banging on it with a hammer.
You should have just done what I said to do, which was just rack it and send it, right? Isn't that the
Tried
best way
that.
to
That
Oh.
actually made it worse.
That's part of the problem.
That actually made it much worse.
Well, don't listen to random people on Twitter when they
That
tell
was
you
the
stuff
first
like that.
thing that we tried because we didn't know. Every time we even did the bolt assist because it wouldn't go. So it was good and in there.
So you
That's
actually
what it
tried
is.
to fire it.
No, well, I tried to clear it using conventional methods.
I don't know what those are.
Which made it
because guns
worse.
Scare me.
Made it very much worse.
Drop the mag, cycle the
Yeah.
bolt, push the thingy.
Yeah, all the things and then it got stuck. So then we had to, it just didn't work out. But this weekend, nothing happened except we just learned that we're not as good as we thought we might be.
across the board.
Still better than Gonky, but not,
Wow.
Dude, I don't shoot much, man. I enjoy it. I'm okay. Decent with a rifle, but yeah.
Don't have to be good. Just have to be able to hit a target
Yeah.
close enough to stun it.
Yeah.
I'm not rambling.
So we have a show.
we do.
We have a show today. Wombat's gonna carry us today. He's our
Am I?
rock.
I got you. We're talking about good, just wholesome, middle of the road things where I won't cause any hate. taking a side or the other.
No, we've got all
Yeah,
we got all the keywords, dude, teed up.
all the
just to get you.
by the end of this show, for sure we're not allowed in India, Pakistan,
I think we're already there, dude.
France.
Yeah.
I think the
Well,
French are okay with us.
No, because when you insult the Salt Rafale, that's
Did we
probably
insult
us on
it?
the list somewhere. I bet you probably will at some point.
You're right.
The large country of Iran probably won't be able to go there anytime soon.
That's a
Yeah.
bummer. That's going to change my plans for next month.
Change your- That's right.
Good thing I got trip insurance. Always get trip insurance.
No.
You never know when one podcast ruins your plans to go to Iran.
Speaking of insurance, like it's such a scam, dude. Like I'm up for renewal and I'm sitting here going, why did it go up? I don't have a claim. It's like, well, you got this thing on your record. There wasn't a claim. Yeah, but somebody hit your mud flap and you told us. Yeah, but it wasn't a claim. Well, I wanted to make sure there was no damage, but zero payout.
Mud flap.
So 3 years ago, right, in the heat of things, I was driving with one of the big dogs that was having back problems. I was taking him to the vet, and this kid, I was on a 2-lane road, and this kid comes up to a stop sign, completely blows the stop sign, turns left. Well, me being above average as a driver, I swerved to avoid him. And what he did was he had this low little like Toyota looking thing, and it clipped the bottom of my tire and the mud flap. And so, the cops show up or whatever, and I'm looking at it, and the kid's just an idiot. I'm like, dude, don't worry about this. We exchange information. Don't write the report, because the guy who was taking it had just come from. He was on the show, Louisiana Law. He had come from Department of Wildlife and Fisheries, and he was transitioning to Mandeville PD. And I'm like, dude, I'm not going to make you write a report on this. This is stupid. It's obviously no big deal. So I went to the shop, and I'm like, hey, can you just take a look? And he's like, well, if we do something, it's going to be on the other side. Like, no. I just want to make sure, just look at it, make sure there's
structurally no issues.
There's no, like it didn't, the wheel's not off center or something happened, because I knew it just hit the tire and the mud flap, and it literally just like a scratch on the mud flap, which was an aftermarket mud, not mud flap, the, you know what I'm saying, that keeps the dirt off the back. And he's like, nope, you're fine. No big deal. We're not going to do anything with it. Well, 2 years later, insurance comes, or a year later, insurance comes up for renewal. My rates are up. And I'm like, why? Like, well, you had a not at fault accident. I said, I had no accident. There was nothing reported, and nothing, there was no payout. Like, nothing happened. And they're like, well, it's, it's on your record, and I couldn't get that removed. So now I just now was going for renewal. Now it's 3 years later, and they're like, well, it falls off your record in 6 months, but you can't get the higher liability coverage because you are a higher liability because someone hit you. I'm like, for 5, yeah. Okay.
So what your insurance company is saying in the too long didn't read is, mover,
I'm high
dangerous.
risk. I'm high risk. I'm high risk
You're
for people to
dangerous.
hit me, even though I expertly maneuvered to not have the kid who blatantly ran the stop sign turning left.
First of all, I'm going to go ahead and take the side of the insurance company, because you've said it now twice that you're an expert driver. An expert driver wouldn't have gotten hit at all.
I didn't.
So you're only a slightly above average driver.
No. If a real Louisianan would have leaned into it and gotten more smart, I could have been. We wouldn't even be crying about not getting hired for the cool fighter job, because I would be a bazillionaire off the billboard lawyers getting me rich.
There you go.
But instead, I do the right thing, and
look what I got you.
So
you know what else I want to cry about?
Boys and girls?
Windows wants me to activate, even though the thing's already activated. One of you nerds email me and tell me how to get rid of this, because it keeps saying every time I say, I already because I upgraded the CPU, and it, for whatever reason, Windows
enhance.
Enhance. Anyway, okay. Let's.
This show is. I mean,
this is not good. We need to rewind.
The thing. I guess the thing that's really going to hurt me after the show is what to do with all the money from the books and merch sales for how good people. I mean, people are just going to stay on this show and be like, "Who is this dynamic trio of individuals?"
Hey,
with all of their
Wombat,
awesome talks.
let's just start out with how do you feel? How do you feel? Because I don't know if this made the topics. How do you feel about the Air Force getting the E-2D?
It's stupid. On
Right.
so
It
many
is what it is.
levels,
So I
it
was
is
going
one
to
of
tie.
the dumbest
Is it a topic?
decisions.
I made no prep today.
Yeah, I was
well,
going
I
to tie.
made
I was
even
going to
less.
tie it into one of the topics because we have an article about the budget for next year.
Spoiler alert.
It-
Okay.
Yeah.
It is the dumbest decision that I have heard our military do in a long time. And that's saying something.
Okay.
Because here's the thing.
Wait. Dumber than a 2-mile PT test?
Yes.
Because we're getting into some really
Yes.
awkward territory these days.
Yes. So here's the problem, in my opinion. And I don't know if you guys, I know you guys talked about this and I didn't deep dive it because it's been busy. So if you talked about this already, I'll shut up. But forget the capabilities of the aircraft. Forget the radar. Forget the E-2D and how it's got a different radar than the one I flew. Forget that it has less people because we've always, Hawkeye guys always pat ourselves on the back for being able to do more with less than an AWACS. Forget all of that.
Forget it.
Okay. Forget
Forgot.
it. None of that matters.
Forget about it.
Where, Mover,
I'm over.
do you typically operate in the Air Force in wartime?
Iran.
Honestly.
Middle East. The Middle East.
Yes. Gonky, where did you operate in wartime?
Well, also
Water.
in the middle.
Started.
Yes, I was floating in the water.
Correct. At an airport designed for the airplanes that it carried.
Mhm.
Unless something has changed and somebody chime in if it has, but
They
my
will.
gut says it
Don't worry.
hasn't.
They will.
Getting an E2 started
Got a hand
is
problem.
nothing short than an act of God.
Like you got to
You
have
need a-
somebody out there like clear prop.
You need a huffer because there's no APU.
Oh,
You need a power cart that is, at least in the ones I flew, very specific frequency band
Okay, so we
to
deploy
actually
'em-
accept it.
Wait. We deploy them with the T-38s. Next question.
no, dude. That
It
Anywhere
is
a T-38 can go, there they'll go too.
well, a T30. What? I don't even get the joke.
the
T38
hover
can't go anywhere.
cart. Okay, but the
Yeah, the power
the
cart
power
is
cart.
legit.
Yeah.
I mean,
T-38's got that
legit.
too.
And we had issues with it on the carrier with the Hawkeye 2000 and things like that. So I don't know what the new versions are. I know nothing about the E2D other than that they can mid-air refuel and that they have a glass cockpit. But the ones I flew did not have an APU. So unless that's being fixed, that makes that plane very difficult to forward deploy. And this was something we were presented with on deployment because our genius skipper wanted us to dump into some airfield so we could have more loiter time so we can control the self-reporting net. All true stories, not making any of this up. And he was going to put us into a SAMWES to go land and do hot pits and sleep in tents so he could show the capabilities of the E2. Again, controlling the self-reporting net, which is exactly what it sounds like, a self-reporting net that nobody needs to control. And the major issue was power carts and hovers.
Was this
So-
in a book you wrote?
It was in real life.
Was he an NFO?
Of course he was. Listen,
I just want to put a smile on movers.
Was he an
I know.
NFO?
I mean,
Of
I know.
course he's an NFO.
This is behavior consistent with an NFO.
Look, I actually gained an appreciation for Wizzos yesterday. Mhm.
DCS.
Okay.
I don't get it.
No, on the gram, Mud Hen Memes,
Oh.
because it's run by a Wizzo.
Oh, okay.
And he was making a joke about the pilot asking the Wizzo if he wanted him to take the brief or not. And the Wizzo's like, just get the motherhood, sit down and shut up. And I was like, oh, that's an option. You can have the dude do the whole brief and all you have to do is the motherhood and then zone out for the rest of the brief. You son of a bitch, I'm in. Like that
Well,
actually
you
sounds.
Hawkeye pilot
Now
then, let me tell
we're
you.
talking benefits here. I'm like, wait a minute. I don't have to talk on the radio. I don't have to brief anything. I don't have to mission plan. All I have to do is show up and go up.
Dude,
Gonky.
that's Hawkeye pilot. You're
Gonky.
talking it. Let's
Yeah.
talk about the average. Okay, since we're now talking about Hawkeyes, let's talk about Gonky's experience and mine when I flew fighters at Fallon compared to mine when I flew the E2.
Dude.
I would show up 10 minutes before walk time to get the kneeboard card, sit down and be like, what are we doing? Where are we going? Oh, the same 2 points we went yesterday? Got it. And then most of the time, we would come up with some BS write-up. We had to write up for maintenance, and we would take all that and tell the NFOs to go to the debrief. We'll meet you there. After we wrote up the one maintenance gripe, went to Subway, and if it was too close to the end of the brief, we would just hit the club. So, yeah.
That's not the experience that
No, I know.
fighter pilot has.
Let me tell you, it was a rude awakening when I transitioned to Hornets, and I'm like, what time do we have to get at the brief? How many hours? But like, what are we talking about?
Hey, you're lucky you didn't go to the Air Force T-38 world, because then we had the mass brief, the mini mass brief, the red air brief, the T-38's only brief, the 8-ship brief, the 4-ship brief, and then you get to the element lead, and you're like, why are we still talking?
Wow.
We only needed the one.
Wombat in the Air Force, we talk about the weather like 6 times before you get to the airplane.
Well,
yet somehow probably still don't get it right.
Well, it's because we're using the bad info. We're talking about the same thing over and over. It's just bad info. But Gonky, you remember Stoner's story? I loved it. He would always talk about cross country in the EA6. Isn't that what he flew?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Where he's like, he would just go and have no idea where you're like, he'd land like, where are we?
Where are we?
Cross country. It's like, I don't know. Where did I
So to
go?
answer your question, if somebody can explain to me how they're going to make it more flexible for startups and for forward deploying, I think the E2D is a fantastic asset. I think that 3 NFOs in the back could do an amazing job. And with the in-flight refueling, it could be amazing.
Do you not have ABMs?
I don't know what that means. What's an ABM?
Oh, see, the Air Force does not put NFOs, or as we like to call EWOs. I think that's what they call them now. ECMOs. No. EWOs.
It depends on the platform, right?
They changed the CISOs. That's what it is. CISOs.
That's
like everybody's a CISO now.
That's definitely sounds offensive.
ABMs, air battle managers. Remember the guy, Mississippi? Air battle manager, cool dude. They are controllers, like airborne battle managers. They manage the battle from the air, thus the name. Using
officers or enlisted?
Officers.
I mean, that's the same thing the mission commander does, the CICO, the combat information.
No. This is a whole career field, and all they do is control.
Well, no, I understand that. I mean, NFO is a whole career field. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me either, but they do it.
You could ask the NFO to navigate you somewhere.
No, you could not.
But
in fact, on an E2, I would argue, if you ask an NFO to navigate you somewhere, you're going to go to the wrong place.
They don't have a sexton.
I can't tell you how many times doing different types of MCON approaches where we would be like, hey, everybody else is landing. Could you give us a steer to the carrier? And they would give us 180 out. And I'm looking at the wake of the
common errors. Yeah. Common errors.
So
they just don't want to go home. They love it so much.
Yeah, it depends on the platform. What in the Navy?
Because you got Wizzos. What do they call growler backseaters? They're not.
Everybody is a CISO now. Like they just blanket CISO.
I don't like
combat
that word.
Systems
I'm
officer.
offended every time you say it.
It's too close to Lizzo. To be honest with you.
It's too close to a lot of things that we probably shouldn't talk on here.
Well, if Fat Amy had a Wizzo, it would be a Lizzo.
It would, but she wouldn't fit. So anyway, I do think that the E2D is amazing.
Okay.
I would even go as far as to say it'd be fun to fly it once just to see the differences in what they've done. I don't see it fitting into the mission of the Air Force. That's my problem. And it has nothing to do with the airborne side of it. It has to do with the ground side.
It doesn't do those things?
I mean, the E2C didn't always fly, fight, or win. I'll tell you that.
Yes, I can vouch for that.
Sometimes it flew. Occasionally it fought. And let's talk about fighting.
Yeah.
Are they adding any type of countermeasures to this?
AMRAMs. Can you imagine how far you could throw an AMRAM if you put it on one of those?
You better time it right with the props, or else you're gonna have an issue. So,
dude, they did that with the gun.
My point being is, so now you're going to forward deploy, because that's eventually, once the golf courses are made and the malls, the Air Force gets there to the battlefield, you're going to forward deploy these things. But they don't have any countermeasures unless, again, they're changing them. And again, so I don't know the version the Air Force is getting, but now it doesn't have countermeasures. And it's like, dude, that
Sure it does. Sure it does. That's what the
Wait,
naps are for.
throwing
They're
in a
the
hose
lost
out of the
flares.
No,
ditching
dude,
hatch.
there's no ejection seat in that E2.
Have them have road flares back there.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Pop your
I
flare
just-
before you bail out.
when I heard this story, like, again, I am very proud that I flew E2s. I think the E2D is a fantastic airframe. Like, it really does things that we only dreamed of being able to do mission capability wise. My hat is off to all the crews. I still think the same. I just don't see how it fits into the Air Force's mission. I really don't. Like, I just don't.
Okay.
But I think more of it has to do with things that people aren't talking about, which is just the logistics of flying the aircraft, not the actual mission stuff.
Plus, then you'd have to get the noise canceling headsets.
We had those.
Did you really? I'm surprised the Navy would splurge on something like that.
Yeah, we didn't use them very much, honestly. Most of the time around the ship, we would just, but we had the option that once you were away from the ship, you could switch over to.
Because you wore a helmet for
yeah,
cat
100%.
shot and
They're
recovery.
not wearing helmets, and
No,
if the Air Force flies them, there will be no helmets.
no, I promise you there
There will
won't
be
at all.
Bose Quiet Comfort
Yeah. So I don't.
with Bluetooth.
Yeah. Yes. So I mean, it's.
Okay.
I don't know. I have more questions than they have answers at this.
We
point.
always have questions. All right. We got people talking to us. Wicked Spider Black says, hi, everybody. And Wombat, welcome back.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, Wicked.
Well, Heat Seeker says, Wombat, 787 with a dome on it.
I'll
Would
stop
fly
you
it?
with. You could stop at 787. I'm not doing it.
You had me at hello.
Yeah. Sorry.
I thought about it. It's a maybe.
Why?
Well, okay. Hear me out.
Mm.
I mean, just basically, like, if you're talking for Air Force 04 pay, no. But if you're like, hey, mover, you could go take off, fly for like 10 hours at your airline rate, and then land back at your base and not have to go through customs or anything.
What does that have
I
to do with the
mean-
dome on it?
I don't want to fly in circles, but I will fly in circles on a 7.8 for a lot of money, is what I'm saying. That's where
Yeah.
because they fly in circles, you see. Like a tanker, dude. I wouldn't fly in circles on a tanker either. I'll fly in circles with a fighter because I'm getting ready to go kill something. But
Or
like
tank.
or go tank.
tank.
Yeah.
Or go
Or I'm in
tank.
the weather in the circle with the tanker. But
Yes.
I'm not going to go intentionally fly in circles just to fly in circles
Yeah.
unless I'm racing. And that's a different
That's
story.
not flying.
They're not racing. 7.8 might race. It's fast. It's a little hot rod.
Does it auto trim and have a snack tray? Because that's honestly where you lost me at this point in my career.
Anything is a snack tray if you put your mind to it.
Mm,
Okay. Anyway.
yeah,
Good
moving on.
Sick'em Droops. Just thank you.
Is this show still going? Are we still talking?
Did we ever even go live? I don't even see the
No.
countdown timer. We could be talking to
Oh,
ourselves. The Islamic Steak says, just finished Spectre Book 2. Nice. If you couldn't have Margot Robbie, who would you want to play Decker in a TV series? Anna de Armas? Who's that?
I'm sure you'll Google it, or Doug will have a picture.
Doug will have it in a minute.
What was that
Yeah,
girl?
I'm trying to find the one that's appropriate for the show.
The girl from she played in the
Perfect.
Sniper TV series.
Can you put it in the private chat for the
Sniper.
first pictures you do see, Doug? Just
Shooter TV series? What was her name? Chantel Van Santen.
that
That's
sounds.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's
All right.
a rough one to. Anyway,
Tiny Dancer says, I'm a chic mover.
Oh.
There you go. They do exist on this channel.
1%.
1%.
1%.
Frickum Droop says, happy Monday, fellas. Welcome back, Wombat.
Thanks, man. Thanks, Sickum.
Colin Kelly says, Wombat, thoughts on E2 replacing E3? I know it's last week's topic. Just wanted your
we should
thoughts.
talk about that. I think this is a good time
It's
to
a
bring that
new
up.
and exciting thing to talk about.
We'll reattack it.
We'll
All right. Well, we'll wait for this one that says, Matt says, Wombat, what's your thoughts on the Air Force replacing E3 with the E2? Don't answer. People will keep asking if you don't answer.
Gotcha.
Ethor says, I'm in the same boat, mover. My 1500 Silverado got hail damaged. I filed a claim, just came up for renewal, went up $50 a month for an act of God. I didn't even file a claim.
I mean, I'd argue a 1500 Silverado still running is an act of God. So that's good. I mean, I'm just kidding. Totally kidding. Totally kidding. They're great trucks.
We're going to have
like a
beef
rock.
with other people.
I don't care.
Gundam Blade says, evening mover, Gonky, Doug, and a Wombat. Would love to hear his opinion on first Navy dropping the E2 and second, we'll table the first one. Second, pilot salary from so-called airline pilot YouTuber, and third, the beef with mover. Let's go.
What is the second one?
So last week we covered Fly with Garrett.
Don't know him.
He is a
He's a
influencer,
pilot.
if you will,
Yes.
who did
I'm sure he will.
he did a thing about how much he makes as an airline pilot, and the New York Post picked it up.
Perfect.
And we commented on that, and there it is.
Yep. Yep.
Are people
And-
shocked how much he makes on the high side or the low side?
Well,
We
first
really didn't
off,
talk about that.
I don't think he understood the contract, because there were some.
Who does he fly for?
I can't tell you. Nah, because I just said things.
One of the big.
He fly. He's
Okay.
he was
He's a major airline pilot.
regional guy who commented on the United guys. Remember back in the day, and everybody kind of pooped on him for being a regional nerd, saying things about a wide body crew. They didn't like that too much. Their words, not
Okay.
mine.
Okay, so he basically giving the cliff notes. He talked about how much he makes,
He makes, yeah.
and
we talked about him talking about how much he makes.
okay, so
Very tacky.
now I'm going to talk about you talking about him. Like I don't what.
Correct. Well, how
But
do
I
you
don't
feel
know.
about pilot influencers, Wombat?
Love him. I can't. You know what? I think everybody.
Wombat is a pilot influencer. I forgot about this. Hold on.
Everybody
Stand by
should-
for remediation.
Everybody should be an influencer as soon as they get their wings.
Douglas, find it.
Um,
Find it. You know what I'm talking
think
about.
it's-
Find that.
I think it's the
Oh,
greatest
what?
way to enhance the career.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
I'm gonna keep stalling until you can't find it because
Well, if I had a producer that could read my mind and knew what I was talking about.
I'll tell you what. Here's what I think about pilot
Arms.
influencers. If I'm a damn pilot influencer, then I need more stuff being sold and money going in my pocket. So I'm not making squat off it. That's what I think off of that. I think the threat in today's world, when it comes to speaking about things like this guy apparently did, and I'm saying this without having any idea what he talked about, is you have to be careful the context and how it's going to be taken, because everything's clickbait. Everybody's just trying to get attention for 30 seconds. And you've got to make sure you're accurate, because if you make stuff up, I mean, let's be honest, guys, like airline pilots have a lot of time on their hands. So if you make stuff up, they're going to come after you. Like they're going to call you out, and it's
How do
going to
you
get
f-
ugly.
How do you feel about long sleeves?
If you got to wear long sleeves, you got to wear long sleeves. I think that here's what I will tell you. If you are a dude or dudette that had gotten tattoos, and that's the reason you have to wear long sleeves, I think you're just as qualified to fly an airplane with tattoos and long sleeves as I am without tattoos and short sleeves. Now, if you just like to wear long sleeves in the middle of the summer in the South because you think it looks more professional, I probably would put you on my no-fly list for other reasons if I was able to do that.
Gonky, you just made the list.
I did. Yeah.
You wear long sleeves?
I don't get skin cancer, man. I cover
Well,
up. My dad has skin cancer. Had skin cancer, and like it's been pounded into my head. Like, you keep the sun off you. And I grew up right in Saudi
Dude, you
Arabia.
fly like 3 hours every 4 months. You're not getting skin cancer for
Every
being
little
Don't
bit.
hour shame him.
Every little bit helps, Wombat. Come
the
on.
best. Okay, I'm sorry, dude. Your cheap long sleeve pilot shirt saving you from skin cancer is much less effective than you just not flying very much.
Here's the best part. Like, a lot of the captains I fly with,
Just
they're
put
like,
the sunshade down.
they're like,
It's fine.
you got some tats under there. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
They're pretty bad.
Yeah. Just tell them that you're trying to hide the guns because you don't want them to be intimidated.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel weird. It's weird to wear a tie and a short sleeve.
Oh, I agree. I look like an ice cream man when I walk around. I look legitimately like a 1980s ice cream man. Like whoever designed a short sleeve shirt and a tie
Yeah, it's not
is
cool.
done. I don't disagree, but I get paid a good amount of money to look like an ice cream man. What do I care? Like it's irrelevant to me. Like, but I don't look. Everybody has their reasons. I don't wear long sleeve shirts because I'm too lazy to buy more than one shirt. So,
What was the third question in his trifecta of questions?
our beef.
The beef.
Oh, the beef.
Our
There is
beef.
no beef.
I mean, there's probably one. I just forgot what it is this time.
There is no beef.
So there's no beef. Mover's great. I haven't been
Oh,
talking to you as
about to
much.
be a
I mean,
Buckle
Here
up,
we go.
kids.
Here's
About
the
to be
beef.
some beef.
Send it, Douglas.
my mom's going to see this for the first time
Monday
ever.
the 16th, we're doing our first episode of What's Up with Widget. How we doing, Widget?
First episode, by the
Ready
way.
to go? Yeah, you did
First
all this
episode.
Safety checks. Yeah. Okay. All right. What's up?
We're doing good. We're flying early from Palm Beach to Atlanta. 13:01.
Notice the coffee.
We've got to pick our way through some weather this morning as the front went
Short
through Atlanta.
sleeves. Look at those guns.
Thanks,
Jesus.
buddy. Been working out.
We'll safely get there with the Widget.
I know a lot of time on the
Be early,
flyover, are you?
safe.
Safe and
Have a
early.
nice
That's what we
flight.
like to hear. You have to say
I love
anything,
this.
Chris?
Just happy to be here and support the team.
He's
Get
a
things ready
hostage.
to go.
Yeah, do you
Yes.
feel
Oh,
safer with Widget?
He's blinking in Morse code.
All right, guys.
He's on probation, isn't he?
He went to see
What
her
are we on?
and knows
Sunday?
better.
Sunday the 16th.
Sunday the 16th. We're doing our first
16th of
episode
what
of
month?
What's Up
March?
I don't know. I know it was
March,
double pay if I was working on a
Look,
Sunday
dude,
morning,
69
that's for
likes.
sure.
Nobody liked this. Has
Nope.
to stay right there.
Perfect. Dude. That is perfect, dude. I love it.
Hey, you're quite well spoken, Wombat. Have you ever tried?
Public speaking?
Yeah.
No.
Or
The
just
funny
going-
part is
going on a podcast or something?
the funny part is when she came up to do that,
Did
she's
she know
like, no. And she goes, well, I don't know if you're going to be comfortable because it's the first time I've asked pilots. And, like some people are real shy talking. And I was like, nah, let's do it. Let's send it. Like, I want everybody at the airline who doesn't want me in certain positions to see that I was on the first episode of whatever it is you're doing. Like, and when my buddy saw it, he's like, man, he's like, that airline can't, it's like, they can't flick Wombat like a booger. And I was like, you're right. I'm everywhere. But
You did good.
I watched some of
It's-
the subsequent episodes, and the first one
Not as good.
always the best. The sequels
first
never
is the
work out.
best. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pilots
guy-
are really
one guy
good at
looked
being
mad.
locked.
There was a captain in there. He just looked mad.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of angry captains. I don't know why. They probably work too hard or something, but yeah. So, I mean, I think it's a good cause what that woman's doing, and she tries to make people happy. And I like when people make people happy. So, what are you going to do? I mean, it's all good. I was happy to do it, but
Okay, good talk.
I also was able to get 2 of those little widgets for my kids, and they were.
Are they going to start
excited.
handing them out like the baseball cards?
No. So that's an interesting thing now is those cards. Apparently somebody listed one on eBay for $500. Have you heard this story?
No, but I
Yeah.
should get in on this action.
Well, yeah. So I mean,
Hook a brother
Don't-
up here, man.
don't buy my books because I got a stack of those things. So I'm good. College is taken care of if we're selling them. But now, like the other day, I was walking through the terminal and the dude that asked you if you want to like apply for the credit card, that guy.
That's
the
our
annoying-
flight attendants.
Oh no,
In
there's a
flight.
guy in the terminal. Well, this dude asked me like, "Hey, Captain, do you have one of those cards?" And I was like, "Nah, man." Like so. I mean, look, the bottom line is like, I do have the cards, and if you're a kid, I'll give you one. But like, if you're some old dude that's trying to sell them on eBay for $500, like,
What if you're a kid at heart trying to sell them on eBay for $500 to
No.
pay for more
Get a
kid
job.
stuff?
get a job?
Okay.
Get a
Okay.
job.
Hey, listen. Just
That's
trying
what
to
I'm
help
saying.
here.
I will send you a dozen of them though to fund your racing.
Radon says, greetings from South Africa at 212.
Nice.
That's almost as good as that's earlier than the turkey
Yeah.
yay.
Yeah.
That's early
Welcome.
or late, depending on.
Emerald Cactus says, have you guys seen Cletus's turbine powered custom Camaro? Would you guys want to cruise something like that or not worth the headache?
Yeah, dude.
That'd be fun to drive.
Not worth the headache.
Well,
I'm
he's,
going to go with it.
I don't know.
No,
I wouldn't want to
dude.
own it, but it'd be fun to drive.
Yeah, I remember when I was stationed out in Point Magoo and I met Jay Leno with his turbine-powered motorcycle at Neptune's Net one day.
Did you
That's
see
pretty
it?
cool.
Did you see the bike?
He sat down with me and had lunch with me.
No, but did he ride the bike there? The turbine
Yeah.
bike?
Yeah. Yeah. He walked up. I didn't know who he was. Well, I was back to him. It was a bad day in the wall bangers, shocking. And I pieced out. I had the chopper.
Yeah,
Remember the chopper
Yeah,
that
I
you have
do.
a picture of?
Yeah.
I had that. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go have lunch by myself. And I hopped on PCH and went down to Neptune's Net. And I parked that awesome chopper next to Neptune's Net. And I sat there and had a tuna sandwich, just like they did in Fast and Furious, or no, Point Break, sorry. And it was great. And then I hear somebody behind me like, man, what kind of job does that person have to do to be able to afford a bike like that? And I turned around, it was Jay Leno. And I was like, and he's like, you got room? And he sat down and we started chatting. He asked me what I did in the military. I told him poor decision-making got me to where I'm at. And then I was like, well, what did you drive here in? And he's like, he pointed and it was the turbine bike. And I was like, oh man. I was like, I'll trade you flat out. He goes, nope. I was like, dang. And then
Awesome.
we talked. He showed it to me, and then I was like, "Do you mind? If you're going to go, I kind of want to hear it." And he goes, I'll do a flyby for you," because I was in my flight suit, And he went up north, turned around, and just, I mean, dude,
That's cool, dude.
even
That's
with a
awesome.
helicopter engine, it was cool.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was cool. So yeah.
Andre says, greetings from Brazil. And here we are again, the best aviation talking. Have we talked about anything aviation yet?
Yeah, dude, we talked about
We
the
just talked about a
E2
motorcycle.
replacing
We'll
the
get to the
E7.
E2 here in a little bit.
We'll get the E2.
Diddy's lube broker will lube for money. It never hurts to have extra pair of eyes and someone keep an eye on the lube gauge.
That's
Useful.
Valid.
That's
100%
solid.
valid.
Thank
For
you for
$5,
that.
that is solid.
That's the
advice.
best advice we've had on this show.
Adam says, thoughts on the F4 Phantom, I think. I saw one in a museum the other day. Forgot how badass that jet looks.
Oh, dude, that's the muscle car of fighter jets. Love that thing.
It's awesome.
Love that
It'd be
thing.
fun to fly. I would do that.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
John says, I volunteer to go run Mover, Doug, and anyone else who wants to join through some tactical training to trigger more of the armchair quarterbacks.
Oh, dude, I'm in. That'd be awesome to do.
Gonky, you're in. You can
That
help
would be
your way
so
through.
much fun.
I
I
can't
have
run.
so many. I have
but I
so
can-
many things that I need to fire that have not been fired. It would be ridiculous.
I'll be the slow mover.
Matt says, where's the article on low cost carrier pilots pay?
On Allegiance, I don't know. I'm not sure they pay them, to be honest.
$1.
I think it's more of a charity program they run. So you show up a
They're
couple
just building
times.
time for the majors is all they're doing.
Yeah, it is. It's a time building operation, that's for sure.
It's like when you go ride with your buddy. You
For
know,
some
you know,
people it
I'll pay
is.
the gas.
If you're under the age of 59, you should consider probably going somewhere else.
If you fly for Allegiant, you're paying your pro rata share.
Yeah, after insurance and taxes, you owe
Yeah.
them. So.
Less than pro rata share, you shall not pay.
Yeah, no idea, man. No idea about Allegiant.
The Islamic Steak says, what was the reason F-16 had Pratt & Whitney and GE engines? Well, they started out with Pratt, and then they were like, hey,
Terrible.
let's put some more horses on this thing. And then GE saved the day. Next question. Gooner. I mean, called always just shut the F up about stuff, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I agree.
These are
$100.
and they
Cool.
were in a sentence. So I read it. John says, dude, Wombat, you need to register them guns.
Nah, man, no serial numbers on those.
I got
Sorry.
2 guns, one for each of
Two.
you. Griff says, Wombat, 2 scoops of mint chocolate chip, please.
True.
What is that in reference to? Is this just
Because I said I look like an ice cream man in my uniform.
more? I thought you looked more like a tax man,
Thanks.
like an IRS agent.
You know what? I just thought of
Yeah.
a new thing.
Or a
People want
Mormon.
trading cards. You buy a book, I'll put a trading card in the book. How about that? New
Well,
deal.
you look like you sell books on a bicycle, so that works.
perfect.
Just wear your uniform, put the helmet on, and go door to door.
That's how I feel sometimes. I need a helmet in this job.
Airline
Oh,
uniforms
man.
are so awful, dude. I
There's,
just
they need to be updated so badly.
no, they don't, because then they do like they do in the back, and they update them to this wild and like
True. No. I think it should be, in my opinion, if it were me, it'd be black slacks, some sort of shirt that I can immediately cover up with something like
Muscle
a
shirt.
tech. Yeah, something.
Gonky's airline would be a muscle shirt, no sleeves.
Wife beater,
Jean
board
shorts.
Yeah.
jean shorts, and flip flops.
He'd look like
jorts,
he drove his Corvette.
Crocs, jorts, Crocs, and wife beater.
Mullet.
A Diet Pepsi and a koozie.
Mandatory mustache.
You got to pay.
Regardless of gender, we accept
Everyone
women, but you
has
got to
the
grow a
mustache.
mustache.
Whether it is Sharpied on or not, you will have one.
That's funny.
Diddy's lube broker will lube for money also says the F4 is proof that with sufficient thrust, pigs fly just fine.
That's true.
I think it's
That's
beautiful.
why it's the muscle cars of jets, man. It's like they fixed everything with just more thrust.
Can't argue with that.
Esat Akar from Turkey.
Hey.
Hello from Turkey. Miss you, Wombat. Good to see you. Thank you guys for awesome show.
What
Thanks
kind
for
of car
joining
does he have in that photo? Is it a Mercedes? It looks nice.
Yeah, Mercedes.
Nice. Sorry.
Spartan BO45 says, did you see there's an American company trying to buy South Korean F4s to launch satellites? I did see that.
South
Mhm.
Korea. I'm confused. How
That's
does
the
that work?
F104 people, I think, in down south, Florida. Same guy.
So they want to hook the satellite to the F4 to
Loft it.
throw it out there
loft it?
Loft it.
into the bozosphere.
Mm.
I feel like there's just easier ways to do that, isn't there? Or
Is
no?
there though? I mean, I don't know if you watch the news, but we're kind of having a tiff with SpaceX and NASA and a lot of things
No.
happening. So if we got to get the F4s out of the boneyard to start throwing things into space, then we're going to do it that way.
Hmm. Hmm.
Hey, speaking of politics,
Hmm.
B2 had a flyover this weekend.
Did it?
Yeah, check it out, man. It's
Man,
awesome.
I need to watch the news more or less.
Yeah.
It's so stealthy. That's good form, right?
Dude, that's cool.
Oh, there's more.
Well, yeah, you saw Top Gun Maverick. First one's lasing for the second one.
This is the entire movie right here.
It really is.
That's just America right there.
That is awesome, man.
I mean,
How high do you remember? How high do you think they are?
Oh God, 4,000 feet.
You think so?
no, I think they're a lot lower than you realize.
Yeah.
They're about. I mean, 1,500 to 2,000.
No.
Dude, that's a B2, man. That thing is humongous. They are
Bet-
high.
bet
They are
1,000.
at least 1,000 to 2,000 feet.
I was gonna say 1,000 feet.
God, why does the Air Force suck so bad?
There is no 200
Well,
feet. Come on, man.
It
That's a
is the
B2.
capital.
That's a B2. Look how high that is.
No, they're
No.
not a 200 feet, but I would say probably 1,000.
I think they're 1,500 is my guess.
Yeah.
This is where you come in at 1 foot, Wombat,
No.
so you don't go
I'm
over.
still trying to figure out if it was a Navy plane, that
No,
dude would known his mission, and that mission would be to be the greatest last flight of his career.
no.
Period.
'Cause think
Dude,
about it.
it's
Air
for
Force
the
rule,
capital.
1,000 feet above the highest obstacle and 300 knots. 1,000 feet highest obstacle is probably 1,500 feet. And then
And you wonder why Russia does't respect us. Come on.
And then the best you can do is break even.
That's true.
You're over
Yeah.
POTUS?
Yeah,
you're-
that's the thing, dude.
Dude,
When you're
no way. 1,500 to 2,000 feet.
you can push it, Wombat, if you're doing a flyover for the Hanford
Penny Benjamin.
high school football team.
And
but-
Penny Benjamin.
Or Penny, yes. Dude, those
found a
are
different angle.
I'm starting to realize why my career didn't go on track, as they say.
That guy's out of position. Get back.
those
Get
are
back in
because-
there.
Are those F-30? Did you see F-22s in there? I thought they were all Fat Amy's.
I think the first ones were F-22s.
Were they?
I think it's Raptors and
I mean, it
then-
looks really cool, but
It's-
it would look even
it's cool.
cooler if it was at 500 feet.
I mean, how those are Fat Amy's. I don't know. I can't VID them. If they're defensive, they're Fat Amy. If they're offensive, they're F-22.
Hey, you're
That's how
right.
I
He
know.
is out of position.
Yeah, look at that. But then again, what are the formation references for a B2, right?
Yeah.
What are you even looking at?
Yeah.
Your other
You
wingman?
can't even see it. You
Yeah,
can't
it's
see it.
invisible.
It's stealth.
You're just flying off the other guy that's 200 feet on the other side.
Oh,
Yeah, that-
man.
Dude, that has to be a cool sight though, because I mean, the B2 is. I think it's such
Yeah.
a cool looking airplane.
If you could see it, it would be cool. But they're
It would
invisible.
be. You can't even see it. It's invisible.
Yeah.
Well, so is Fat Amy though, right? So
Only
we
when
didn't
they
see any
wanted
of
it.
that.
Only when
That
they
never
wanted it.
happened.
Yeah. No,
I still
want to be
think-
seen. They will be seen.
Wombat for president. That thing, if that was happening over my house,
It'd be an E2.
that's true. That would be. But
Here it comes.
that E2, that
Put
E2 would be at 200
noise
feet and
canceling
no
on.
higher.
We can't hear
No
the
higher.
fireworks. How much?
Seriously, if I was president
Uh-huh.
and I knew we were doing a
Uh-huh.
flyover after the mission we just did,
Waiver.
waiver, and my rules would be send it and don't make me disappointed.
Light my toupee on fire.
Yeah.
Expose the comb over.
Show this world what we can do. Period. And that would be it.
They kind of did though, without. I mean,
Yeah, but that'd be
Well,
awesome. But
listen.
whatever. 1,500 feet while eating a sandwich is cool too. I guess.
What do you think of, well, the B2 guys are definitely on autopilot. What do you think about the them inviting the B2 and crews to the White House for that attack? Think that's a good call or not?
Wait, they invited the crews to the White House after
Uh-huh.
the attack?
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Like
They
dude,
still
Super
went
Bowl.
over at 1,500 feet?
Well, I don't know
No,
about
no.
these people. It's just
No.
in general. They invited the
don't-
ones that attacked Iran to come hang out at the White House. That
Dude,
is
I think-
a strat right there.
I think
That's
if
a
you're-
bullet.
I think you're commander in chief. You can invite whoever you want.
You can, but hold on. You can, but
Well, security.
yeah.
You
and
just
also,
told the number one supporter
Yeah.
of terrorism who bombed their facilities.
and I don't know this. This is why I'm asking. Is it publicly known, like the names of, like, was there an article? Like, did they show that? Did they show the people? Or is it all done on the sly? Like, hey, we invited the crews, but it wasn't. Their faces weren't all over the news.
It's not
because those are two very different things.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? If it's public, then that's bad. It's not public. I agree with Gonky. You're POTUS. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
It says that they were invited to the White House's 4th of July celebration, but it does not name the pilots.
Then I think that's fine.
That's probably all right.
But then it says identity is a huge concern. Goodwin told military.com in an interview. Protecting that personally as a commander, I take that very seriously because there will be those out there that want to make potential recourse on those bombings and they could be targets. Goodwin said she was confident the commanders are being thoughtful in protecting the safety and identities of their pilots, but service and White House officials are silent about the precautions being taken.
Yeah. I mean,
But
Yeah.
we know it's a lady because the news media has already leaked that. So,
Oh,
Oh,
my
well, there was
God. Are you
one.
serious?
yeah.
Who
which-
gives
which is-
a damn?
Well, but I'm saying for her safety, right? Because
How
there's
many
probably
women
not a
in
whole
B2
bunch.
pilots?
that's true. No,
You know
you're
what I
right,
mean?
Boomer.
Like, there's probably not a whole bunch. So let's not dox the one or
Yeah.
two. Like, if there's a handful, like, oh, well, okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, but is the B2 a community where, like, are they bebopping in like I did to the Hornet or Hawkeye Squadron, or is it like more of like a SEAL Team 6? Like, you come in not dressed in, you know what I'm saying, for security? I don't know. Like,
Well, dude,
somebody
it's
in
a
the chat said they came out with no name tags.
It's a super
well, as
small-
long as you don't have a name tag, nobody can tell who you are.
You should
So,
wear a Gonky name tag. Everyone should have a Gonky name tag.
we used to do that when we would go to Tailhook.
we had fake
Tailhook name tags.
we had fake name tags too.
So
Dude,
if
maybe
we,
that's the problem, Gonky. That's why we can't get hired anywhere, because people roll around with Mover and Gonky name tags.
Yeah, that's fine. Now, you should take that as an honor. But yeah, that's what we used to do at Tailhook, is you would roll out in your Tailhook name tags. So if you were ever out in town in an establishment and photos were
That's
taken,
right, dude. I totally forgot about the. I forgot about the other name tags that we had.
I don't know what
Yep.
you're talking about.
Yeah.
yeah, that's because you were playing golf on your detachment.
Esat Akar says, Wombat, that is a 1994 Mercedes CL500 AMG. My baby.
Nice.
He also has a 1982 Corvette. Nice.
That's awesome.
CL 500 AMG. That's a nice car.
Islamic Steak would like to know whatever happened to the old RAAF F-18 still sold. I think the center barrel mod got them. I think they were so timed out that it was cost prohibitive to do anything with them.
Yep.
But I don't know. I mean, some of them probably went somewhere else too.
Parts.
Charles Montgomery Benny, how is Trump's parade?
We didn't do the parade, did we?
Maybe that's the parade.
Is that the parade? I don't
Is
know.
that a parade? A parade of jets? Parade of lights? Parade of parades?
I don't
I
know,
don't know.
dude.
Gonky, tell me about the F-18 being a great dogfighter.
Doug, do you have the article?
Oh boy.
F-18 pilot explains why naval aviator flying a Super Hornet would lose a dogfight against Air Force F-15s and F-16s most of the times.
Who is this?
I guarantee you this is from Quora. It has to be. It's all. Anytime you see an article like that, it's somebody that's like, I flew these jets, and it's Quora.
So the guy that wrote it, he's a growler guy, right? So he flew the Hornet a little bit.
It is Quora. I told you.
Of course it's Quora, dude. And then he flew the Hornet a little bit, dude. So I'll save you the pain, Wombat. It's basically his perception.
You can't. It's already there. Can't take the pain away.
It's his perception of why he thinks the Hornet would lose every time. And I mean,
read the quote.
What's the quote?
I'll be ostracized forever by my fellow naval aviators, but USAF versus USN usually turns into a pretty big one-sided fight. Valid. And not in our favor.
Disagree.
Look, I'm as big a Super Hornet homer as there is. I grew up loving it. I adored it while I flew it, and now that I'm retired, I dream of getting back in the saddle of the magnificent beast. Too late, dude. Trust me.
All right. Wombat.
But even I have to admit the Super Hornet's weakness when it comes to fighting in a phone booth, aka dogfighting. Our Navy jets have to generate a lot of lift at slow speeds in order to land safely at the boat. That's part of the reason why we have such huge leading edge extension Lexes. They're the part against the fuselage next to the cockpit, extending back to the wing proper. That's great for recovery at the boat, but all that lift comes at a price and douche drag. Basically, it means the more lift you create, the more drag you have as a result. In practice, what that means is that F-16s and F-15s that don't have this penalty can add energy or sustain turns better than F-18 of any variety. And F-18 has to be flown damn near perfectly to beat the other. Did they not teach aerodynamics in the Navy?
Dude, Wombat.
Tell me you were never taught
just
dogfighting because you are an electronic warfare platform
Top
without
Gun
telling me
recommends you
you were
ignore
never taught dogfighting. Like,
okay,
dude,
yeah.
give me it.
So Wombat. So you're
He had me in the first half, though.
So yes. So Wombat, as somebody who's properly trained in the art of dogfighting, what do you think about his comment of the Hornet being a bad VFM?
Oh, yeah. I've heard a lot of arguments, but slow speed is not one of them.
Go ahead.
Slow speed is where I wanted to be. That was where I seeked being, because if I could get slow speed, I would win every time, except against a Raptor, because that's not a fair fight. So, because they have all sorts of gizmos. But F-16, F-15, if I can go slow, no. If I could go slow, I had a very good advantage because I could sustain it. Same thing Gonky's going to say. This guy's a growler guy. They're not trained.
He's both.
He's both what?
It said Super Hornet and Growler. Says he flew both.
It's the same thing. He's referencing his Super Hornet-ness. The Growler's just a Super Hornet. It just has more drag. I don't buy it.
Or he was early in the program, so he got his 5 hours in the Rhino down at 122 with us, and then we
maybe, yeah, but I don't know. No, dude. I'm sorry. Maybe with all your nerd pods on it and all that stuff, sure.
We're just talking BFM, dude.
BFM in an air-to-air against an F-15 or an F-16, or a new guy that doesn't know how to fly his F-22, which I proved once with my skipper, you have a very good chance. I'm certainly not going to say that it is a lopsided fight, not in your favor. Sorry, not. No.
Mover, what are your comments as a well-trained fighter pilot?
Viper and Hornet, by the way. I've flown them both.
Yeah, so I mean,
I speak to these things.
You know what the Hornet can do.
Well, I flew the Legacy, which is,
Better.
it's I would say it's good. The first time I ever fought a Hornet, I was a young lieutenant, brand new, right? They brief me. I'm like scared to death because I'm first dissimilar. I don't know anything, and everybody told me, it's like, don't get slow, don't get slow, don't get slow, don't get slow. and I was fighting F. So the 2-seat Super
Family
Hornet,
model.
the family model,
the
dude,
mini wagon,
the
of Super
family
Hornets.
model. And first of all, the Navy and the Air Force, we fly different. I learned that when I got to the Navy. Setups in the Navy are more cooperative than in the Air Force. So, for example, at the checkaway and the turn-in fights on, Navy likes to start things very gentlemanly. Left to left, we're gonna meet co-altitude. Air Force does not, dude. I'm doing everything I can to start winning from the time we check away to the time we don't. So this first engagement, we check away, I dive, I'm coming back low to high, and the Super Hornet guy, I'm talking with my hands, I know, he decides to go 2-circle, because I'm going to turn across his tail, see what he does. And he starts going uphill. Like he does this kind of oblique, or as the Navy fellers will call it, oblique, because they can't pronounce common English words. Oblique uphill.
Common English. Thank you for your
it's
freedom.
not even, it's not right.
Sorry.
You're just mispronouncing the word. But so it goes in the oblique. I'm in a Viper, clean block 30 big mouth, and I'm like pointing at him within, 90 degrees of turn, 120 degrees of turn. And I'm like, why is this so easy? Because what's the saying? Go up to blow up, right? So I saddle up and just ride the pipper all the way down. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, this is the first time I scoff a Wizzo. I'm like, what's he doing in the back seat? He should be telling him to jink. All I'm doing is
we still don't actually know. That's a great question.
I'm like, but they briefed me that the guy was on his way to Top Gun, so I really was nervous. So after that, he didn't want to do another butterfly set.
That doesn't mean anything.
We just did a beam sets from then on, because like you could tell the dude was pissed. And so when you get to the beam sets, it was a lot more neutral, because the Viper, we can put a bat turn, like we can give you one good turn, or we can give you a sustain rate. But when you get slow speed, it's much more difficult, because we have an AOA limiter that the Hornet does not have. So the Hornet thrives when you get into the slow speed regime, for the very reason that he said it's bad. The leading edge extensions and the flight controls are what gives it such good nose authority at slow speed, versus the Viper, which it does have not as good leading edge extension. It does have extensions off the root, but it's not nearly what the Hornet has. But the Viper also has an AOA limiter, so the jet just won't let you do it. Yeah. And so if I can outpower it because I've got an AOA limiter, but you have an AOA limiter in the Hornet, it's called pushing the stick forward. It's, it's you as doing pilot shit. It was much more neutral, still won, but much more neutral when we went to a beam sets, because it was a slow speed fighter. The Canadians also fought with the CF-18, and they like to go up too. And they would do this 1-circle uphill thing, and I could just do the double Immelman and gun them. I fought the Viper versus the Eagle, and it was neutral. But then I went Hornet versus Eagle, and the Hornet had trouble against the Eagle had trouble against me and the Hornet, because they're just arcing. They're going so far around, and you're just like pointing, and eventually they get slow with you. And then it's like, okay, well, you're in my wheelhouse. The only time people in the Viper have trouble against the Hornet is when they go nose low. They start going nose low because, dude, the Viper wants to get fast and pull 9Gs. Like, that's its thing. And if you go downhill with a Hornet pulling 9Gs, it's going to hurt. Well, maybe not with ATAGs now. This is old man BFM.
Back in the day, it would hurt.
Back in the day, it used to hurt.
Yeah.
But either way, it all comes down to the pilot, and whether the pilot knows how to exploit the weaknesses of the enemy and the strengths of their aircraft. Any given Sunday, I've known Block 30 guys having no problems against the Raptor because it was a really experienced Block 30 guy and a really inexperienced Raptor guy. And I've known dumb lieutenants that have gotten gunned by everything. It depends.
Yeah. So, Mover, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. You have to know your airplane's strengths and your opponent's weaknesses, and then it is your job to get them to fight your fight, which is your fight is to your aircraft and your skill set's strengths. That's the best you can do.
Which no growler guy has any strengths in this arena. Therefore, that's why he feels this way.
Well, but if we're just talking, look at this picture here. So this is a Hornet gunning a Raptor.
Yep.
right?
There's a T-38C video gunning an F-22.
Right.
Like, any given Sunday. I always
Right.
say that.
So
100%.
you know, for him to say the things that he did, it's pretty amazing. And the other thing is, each aircraft is built for a specific task, dude. The F-15 will smoke the Hornet in any kind of interceptor mission.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, and you don't get in a 2-circle fight with the Viper and a Hornet.
No.
Period. Dot.
No.
Unless you're a DCS. In
Unless you're in DCS.
DCS, the rules change a little bit because you've got King Kong motors in the Hornet.
Hornet becomes Hornet on crack.
Yeah.
No.
But
yeah, there's just you know, certain rules to live by, and it just sounds like he doesn't. I don't know. When I read that article in its entirety,
dude, every time we do one of these, it's always Quora.
It's like, dude, the guy doesn't understand what he's doing.
Well, I will say, in fairness, though, he is correct in that. You know, they talked about energy excursions, right? When you cash it in, you better make it count, because getting it back, especially legacy, you know, we flew the A+. That was it, dude. Once you cashed it in, you were done. And I'm sure the Hornet, the Super Hornet,
the Super was worse, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because it was draggier.
It was better. The Super Hornet was better out of the hole to like 300 knots, but then after that, the old jet's better. But
it's because there's nothing super about a Super Hornet. Let's all say it
it's
together.
just, dude, you know, you have to play the strengths and weakness game. I mean, like, you know, when I fought the MiG-29, right, I never had any problems fighting MiG-29s, and they're a lot like an F-16. I'm not gonna play the thrust to weight game with the MiG-29 because I'll lose every time.
Yeah.
Right. So you get them to fight your fight, but if they're good, you know, there's counters to the counter, man. I mean, you can
see it, and that you just said it right there, Gonky, is you get them to fight your fight, and this is a growler guy talking.
I know.
They're not.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think he completely understands.
I get it, right? Because I know growler guys. Like, I get it. And I'm going to sit here and tell you, if I could do it all over again, that ain't a bad lifestyle. I'm not going.
We had growler jams on. He's quite.
He's cool. Hale's cool. Yeah.
Hale is
good
human.
You can live up at Whigby Island and fly Super Hornets and have somebody videotape you for your YouTube channel the whole time. Like, that's a good way to make a living, right? But they are not taught the same tactical. They weren't. They may be now. I don't think so. But they're not taught the same way because they have a different mission.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
no. They came down to New Orleans. I taught them because
it's not
they made me go watch the stupid DVDs.
No, mover.
And
look,
then turn around and teach them.
That's just to get them exposure to it. Because
the
airplane will do it.
The same level as what a legacy or a regular Super Hornet.
It's like saying me and Wombat are really good at the harm mission.
Yeah, which I'm not.
No, dude. I've carried the harm, but I'm definitely not like growler.
You make a good point about knowledge versus proficiency, right? When I was flying the F-16 in my prime, I was a full-time lieutenant. And I flew like 27 sorties of BFM 1 month. Like, this is why I have VA disability in my neck now. But at the time, it was glorious, and I got really good at it.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, and there's a lot of ingrained skills because, you know, law of primacy, muscle memory, all that stuff. You see a sight picture enough times, and you see the mistake, and you can get predictive. You know where the aircraft's going to be. You know where you are. You know, maneuver in relation to the bandit, all that stuff. If you only do it once for just not proficiency, but just for familiarity, just to get you, okay, here's what it looks like, and you never see it again until 6 to 9 months later or a year later or whatever, you're not going to be good at it. You know, I mean, just like shooting Mavericks, you know, I did that once. And I mean, you asked me to do that again versus all the GPS guided weapons that LGBs and stuff that I trained a lot on. It's two different things, right? Because it's what you train your skill sets to. So I understand, but there is that whole, hey, if you don't know it, don't say it part of, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. At least he got one thing right in the article.
But I mean, yeah.
We are going to ridicule him.
all those jets, man, are incredibly capable, and they're all capable of winning on any given day. Like it
Yeah,
just,
Sure.
like it
I
just
like
depends
where his
on.
head's at, though. I mean, he admitted defeat already,
Hey, you're right away. Typical.
as any good seaman should.
As any good growler pilot
Yeah,
should.
as any good Navy pilot should, is just admit the defeat early and
Never
No,
enter
no,
a
no.
fight
because
without an alibi.
because we focus on tactics and not landing.
Yeah,
I've seen
I
a
didn't
lot of
focus
Navy
much on
pilots
landing.
that landing either. Yeah, I was going to say.
I wasn't very good at it.
I've waved
Not
many
anymore.
a pilot who
No, dude.
also did not focus
The
on
Navy
landing.
pilots of the future, now that it all does it by itself, can focus more on tactics because they don't have to practice crashing into the boat every so often.
Well, yeah, it's more of a function of every lieutenant has about 12 jobs in
Yeah.
the squadron. So,
Yeah.
and you better get that party planned out right, or else Skipper's
Yeah.
going to have your
That's in the Air Force too.
You got to do evals. Don't forget
evals,
the E3
dude. Yeah.
evals. There's 46 of them that need to be written in a program that was designed in 1938. Like,
Yeah.
Thanks.
Valid.
Renee says women got rolled into the White House for the commander in chief. No one knew who was there. I think they can hide a B-2 pilot. Nice.
Well, yeah.
Okay,
B-2
cool.
pilots
Hope
are
so.
stealthy. Even their
Yeah,
pilots are
the
stealthy.
jet is, but the people aren't.
I think the people are. That's part of the requirement mover.
Give the
That's
people
science.
what they want.
I mean, think about it. If the pilots weren't stealth, you would see two pilots flying around in the sky. Obviously, they're stealth.
Well, when Wonder Woman's jet flew around, could you see just Wonder Woman?
I don't know. What
I
you're
don't think so,
referencing.
man. Because she's in the
What is
jet.
your What is your favorite World War II era fighter if you have one? Spitfire, Mustang.
Corsair, probably.
I like the Corsair and the Spitfire.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the Mustang too, but
E2A.
Yeah, you can't not like a Mustang, but
yeah, this
E2
is
the
Alpha.
Corsair. The
Corsair.
Corsair.
It is pretty cool.
P-38.
Umar
238.
Shafi says, off topic, what range could your jets fly and at what speed with and without fuel tanks?
I'm sorry, Iran. We're not giving you our secrets.
For
You have to-
$5, please find your way to the nearest jail.
Yeah, go to
Where
Chat
are your
GPT.
troops? And may I go there and count them? Perfect. Gonky, you answer.
I honestly don't know, and you
don't remember.
I am clueless with this stuff, man.
Well, here I will answer him. Look, the guy gave you $5. I'll answer. All of our jets
Well, it's
flew
5,
with
whatever the squiggly line is.
Yeah,
It could
okay.
be
Pounds?
50.
No.
It could
He
be
deserves
5.
an
It could be
answer.
2. I don't know.
Listen, I'll take the risk. Umar, all of our jets in the military flew with fuel tanks, not without. They all had fuel tanks.
Listen, Umar, if you're with a country we don't like, here's the deal. We can strike you where you are at any time, any place, anywhere. So you might want to try diplomacy, or else we're coming for you, buddy. But thanks for the $5.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Oh,
Never dull moment on the show. Cool.
No.
I have a
The
fatwa in my
internet's the
head
best.
now.
Oh,
The
Jihad.
internet's the best.
Lou says, off topic, mover and wombat, but y'all need to get back to writing so we can have something good to read. Cheers from Oregon. I'm writing right now.
thanks. Lou.
Chapter 45.
Well, la-di-da.
Beef's back on.
It is back on.
D Stu says, Gonky and Wombat, assuming the U.S. still will have man fighters in the future, what will you say to your children if they want to become military fighter pilots?
Sure.
Oh, rub it in. Mover doesn't have kids. Well, Luna.
Yeah, I mean, I'll support my kids with whatever they want to do.
100%.
You know, of course,
Now,
they'll never
Mama
be as
might
good as
not be
Dad.
happy. Oh, yeah, dude.
They're not going to be as good as I was, but I mean, you know, that's neither here nor there.
Obviously.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Thanks. Thanks for that. Appreciate that. Subi07 says, do you guys have any sites or books you can recommend where I can learn BFM in detail? Going to start playing DCS and I want to learn.
those are two different things you're asking about.
There used to be the T45 manuals online. I don't know what happened with that. Remember that? You used to have the actual T45, like maybe Navy BFM, so it'd be wrong, but it'd be better than nothing.
There is a book out there, but I cannot remember the
Boyd.
name. No, dude, I was in the RAG when I was a student, and of course, as you guys know, I just struggle with everything. But I went to Barnes and Nobles, and I was always reading as Wombat knows. That's what I would do on the weekends because I was a loser. But I'd go to Barnes and Nobles, and there was a book in Barnes and Nobles about dogfighting. And I'm not like, whoever wrote it used words that I could understand.
So small, concise words,
large font. No, they
lots of
explained,
pictures.
no, I remember it explaining 1 circle and 2 circle fights, not the way that it was explained to me, in actual training, and it clicked in my head, and that really helped me a lot, because part of being a good fighter pilot in dogfighting is recognizing the fight that you're in so you can fly your airplane appropriately, because that was my biggest problem when I was new. Was I had 2 moves. I would shove everything. I'd shove both motors to burner, and I'd pull the stick all the way back. Right.
Yeah.
So that's all I knew. And
That's
that
exactly how you fly the Viper.
that doesn't get you very
Just
far
the
on the
one
Hornet.
motor. Just the one motor. That's all we
Right.
got.
But that doesn't get you very far, and that really helped. But I cannot start.
Dude, the Falcon VMS manual has a lot of that stuff in it.
Really?
So does the old Jane's ATF Gold.
It might have been that. It might have been the Jane. It might have been Jane's, man.
Jane's had something like Jane's USN or ATF. One of them had that kind of stuff in it too.
It's really
But the
good.
Falcon BMS was written by a Viper guy. He probably went to
it?
jail. He's probably in jail right now. But
Hey, he sold some books though, so I mean that's
he
good.
sold some software.
Worth it. Worth it.
Wretched Rob says, since blood goes to your legs during high G stuff, could midgets be the cheat code for the future of aviation?
If only we could figure out how to get him to see over the dashboard.
That's
Yes.
right.
Dude, I got to tell you, the worst thing in the Viper is when you got in after a short feller or
Or
woman,
lady.
either way, because the pedals would be all the way forward, which you could manage, but the seat would be all the way up. But you can't run the seat till generator's online.
Yep.
So the canopy's already down, and you're doing this because
Yep.
and you're like,
Hornet was the
okay.
same way, right?
Yeah.
Could you hit the canopy with your head in the Hornet? I felt like I had
Yeah,
more
oh, yeah.
room.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, you could hit it.
The
Mhm.
Viper, I was already like with the seat all the way down. I had one fist. I had just enough clearance in the Viper.
In the 2-seat jets, you won't, but in the single-seat jets, you could
Yeah.
hit your helmet.
Laura would like to point out that Mover isn't good at making friends.
Oh, yeah,
Breaking
of course he
news.
is.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. Big Rig 0485 says that wasn't Iran, it was OSI. You passed.
Sweet.
Gracias.
Mm.
Gracias. Umar Shafish, you bunch of jokers. I'm from the UK, not Iran.
Listen, we're all Americans. We don't know anything outside our borders
Yeah,
anyway. You know
pretty
that.
much. Yeah.
Pretty
It's
much.
the beauty of being part of this country.
There's
You don't have to
America
know any other geography.
and everywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
What in Tarnation says, I like your puppy. Gonky, when are we getting a coloring book of all the small countries you believe? It's like the Animaniacs song where you just start listing countries. It's a song.
Awesome.
Oh,
Oh man.
And there's Jonathan Trohan, or Trojan. Could be heard it both ways. First time catching the show live. Love the content. Ironically, waiting on a delayed flight, but glad it gave me the chance to watch it live.
That's what
Is your
happens when you
pilot-
buy Allegiant.
Looking for tips in his hat. Is he
Oh
walking
my!
by-
Wasn't that another thing that came on? There was something about you should tip your pilot. Somebody said that.
They should. You tip your Uber
Wow.
driver. Why not tip your pilot?
There's
Depends
actually
on
a
the landing.
comedian. There's a comedian who's a pilot that did a skit on that. You could Doug will find it. It's actually really funny. It's actually really funny.
Okay.
But yeah,
All
Doug will
right.
find it. I believe in Doug.
what do you want me to
Dan
find?
says
There's a
late to the
comedian pilot that does a skit on tipping your Doug asked Mover. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna
There's a
bore the
chat
guy.
you can use where you can type your requests and not interrupt the mover while mover is trying to do fan services.
Yeah, you wonder why there's a beep.
That's on you. Late to the pod.
Is it?
Going to start from the beginning. Yeah, it is.
Is it?
Would you just let me read this at the beginning? But wanted to throw you gents a quick tenor for being solid bros and brightening people's days up in the world. Cheers. Aw,
Thanks, Dan.
Dogfighting for dummies, says Christopher Kaplan.
Maybe that
Write
was
that
it.
one. Yeah.
How do I suck less?
Yeah.
Wicked Spider Black says, does anybody have old phone books? Or no for boost? All right, we got to go back to the next topic, which is Fat Amy's still stuck in India.
Yeah. Pull it up, Doug. All right. So this thing, so we talked about it last week. I think it was last week.
Dude, say that word.
I can't say it, man. I can't, like, I don't know what that is in that town in India.
Say that 3 times, somebody's going to
Oh
appear
my
in your home.
goodness.
So I actually watched an Indian newscaster say it, and it doesn't sound that difficult, but it's too much. But anyways, yeah. Yes, it landed in India. They had F-35B, right? It's British F-35B. They had a field problem. They landed June 14th, so 22 days ago. So it's been stuck in India all this time. And we talked about last week how the pilot stayed with it until proper security could get there. And that's not anything new, but it has sat out on the ramp this whole time. The UK, like India's like, you want to put it in a hangar? And the UK said no. And then finally, because they cannot get this thing fixed, they've sent, I think, 2 teams out there to try to fix it. They can't fix it to get it flying because I think it has, when he tried to leave after getting the fuel, he had some sort of hide problem. And then there's a sweet video here of them towing it, so that the Brits are like, okay, yeah, put it in a hangar, because they're either going to dismantle it, put it in a C-17 and fly it out of there, or what, they're going to try one more team to fix it. But I think it's pretty incredible that it's been stuck.
What a colossal embarrassment.
I mean, so Wombat, as the guest, I'm scratching my head trying to figure out what could hard down this thing. What's going on?
Software, probably.
Think so?
I mean, that's, oh my goodness, man.
It's pretty bad.
That's really bad.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
And it shocks me because have you guys heard of any other issues that Fat Amy's had since its inception? I mean, I can't think of any. I mean, it's good
that this is the first. It really is.
Yeah. I mean, this has really been, it's not like it accidentally ejects pilots, or the tow bar didn't actually reach the shuttle on the aircraft carrier, or the landing gear were too close to the tail hook, so it couldn't stop. I mean, so really, you gotta have your first mistake, I guess.
So one of the theories I read while I was going down this rabbit hole was the U.S. has just turn that jet off just to show the UK that,
Donald Trump himself.
Donald Trump himself, yes.
Yeah.
He's
huge. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it.
You're gonna love India. Yeah, but hey, oh dude, I forgot. Hey, there's been some dude, there's been
maybe
some
they need to activate Windows.
There's been so I guess the thing's been generating some memes over it. And it has been there so long, it is now an Indian citizen with 6969 repeating as
nice.
So yeah. So sorry, carry on, sir.
That is hilarious.
First off, did you read? So you said fuel problem.
That's what initially
the article said. Low fuel,
which is a fuel problem. If you don't have
it is a problem if you don't have it. But if it's low fuel, you imagine being that pilot.
No.
I mean,
what's his call sign now?
Oh, it's something in Indian. Like it is.
Yeah, they're like, don't come back, bro. Just
I was thinking
you don't live here anymore.
Because that thing, I mean, they fixed a lot of issues, but software has always been a problem, especially when connecting to the mothership and all that stuff. I mean, it's like you shut it down wrong, and next thing you know, it's in India for 22 days straight, and you can't.
It's still there.
I mean, that's
somebody forgot the password. Probably, like
that was one of the memes. The pilot was calling, trying to get his
password reset.
Trying to get his password reset.
He didn't update his CAC. Like, it won't.
Yeah.
Windows is updating. Cannot find Wi-Fi.
Yeah, see, the real problem is when he downloaded his data link card, it had dates, and he was like, "Nah, I'll be back before this expires." And he took it, and he didn't.
The date was expired.
Yeah, he didn't switch over to the new one, and now the jet is basically a large paperweight.
Yeah, I mean, so in fairness, it is funny, but
because nobody got hurt.
Do we know when the fiscal year turns over in the UK? Is it like July? Because July is the new fiscal year for the sheriff's office here in the state of Louisiana. They don't do October.
So,
So,
like, dude, we can't afford
Dude,
your per diem.
this happened to me. This
Your travel
this happened to
claim,
me.
just-
I got stuck in Dover for like 10 days because we did the NASCAR flyover. My wingman broke because he had some kind of brake problems. And then I hit a bird during the flyover. And it was at the end of the fiscal year. So they could not afford to send a crew out there and they could not get the parts. So we had to sit there and wait until the new fiscal year clicked over and they could get the travel budget to send somebody up there and start troubleshooting. And then they needed the parts and then they had to order the parts. Sometimes little stupid stuff like that can be the issue. And this was F-16s. I mean, these are old Block 30s. Just saying.
Yeah. Do you think, I mean, so I was thinking about security issues. I mean, out on the ramp, you know, if it has proper security, I think it'd be relatively safe. But I think one of the concerns with the British not wanting to put in a hangar is it's in a hangar.
Can't
You have
see what they're looking at.
Yeah. I mean, you have to wait till proper, like, you know, British security gets there, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, is
Because
the
if
Indian
it's
government
outside,
going to
you can-
allow? There's got to be some kind of status of forces agreement for them
that's
to
what-
carry weapons on the base to.
Yes.
Because it's a level of protection to, like, I mean, you have to be able to use deadly force to protect
Right.
the aircraft. Well, the UK might not. Everywhere else, they might let people spray paint it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they just use British levels of force, so they'll billy club you if you get near it. It's a little different.
Oi, mate, don't do that.
Yeah. Please
It's
stop.
the wrong jet, isn't it?
Oh man.
I just wondered
Get more
about
friends.
I just wondered about the security aspect of it. Cause I mean, that's what we talked about last week, which they probably just like, dude, you ran yourself out of gas. You stay with that thing.
That made the
Mm,
Indians
oh,
mad in the chat, by the way, when we talked about
Oh.
that.
What's to be
Security.
mad about?
Well, because they think it's because we or they don't trust the Indians. They're like, don't fly here if you don't trust us. It's like, no. Any airport, civilian or otherwise, that's not our own military base, even our own military base, we don't trust people. But if you go land off station, they're going to put a security detail around that aircraft to keep, and it's a clearance issue. It's not a, hey, we don't trust India, we don't trust whatever country you ended up in. It's we have to protect this jet, and the only way to do that is to make sure it's got a certain level of cordon around it, and it doesn't matter where it is. They're going to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Take the wings off, fly it home in a C5, and that thing's going to break in India.
Dude, we got C5 and an F-35. At least
Yeah.
put the F-35 in the C5 while they're both broke on the ramp.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be great. Charles Montgomery Benny says, God invented war so Americans can learn geography.
That's fair.
What else would we talk about?
Yeah.
Calvin Simpson says, Doug is Guod, spelled backwards. Thank you.
Okay.
Entertaining. Heat Seeker says, we don't need to learn geography to win. The spare flare tells us where to go. Or the GPS now.
Mm-hmm.
Corvette World Rob, Fat Amy broke again. Sheesh. It's only news because it's news.
It's only because it's
You
fat.
didn't care, you know, all the other fighters that have broken on debts in places and diverted and been a fixture of various airports. Nobody cared. It's because it's Fat Amy.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
6 Xeno 9 Gonky. Maybe it was Robert L. Shaw, Fighter Combat Tactics and Mover. Mr. Pete Boomer Bonanni, who was consultant on Falcon series, became a brigadier general. He also wrote Art of the Kill. There you go.
Might
There's
have
some
been,
books
yeah.
for your reading. I would read Spectre Rising
Mm.
and then move on to Treason Flight. That's if I
Or
wanted to
vice
learn
versa,
about,
depending on your.
Yeah.
Just, it depends.
The shameless plug mover. I love it.
James says April is UK fiscal year. Okay.
No.
Thank you.
Well, then
They
there
shut
goes
tons of
that.
money.
That theory's gone. You could have just let
Yeah.
me live that lie.
It's as
Sounded
good
a
as
lot
anything
better
else.
than Big Rig 0485 says next they'll use the advanced electronics to call even more people saying they need to pay their taxes with Apple gift cards.
Dude.
Boy.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
That's funny because it's true.
Islamic Steak says he didn't listen to the spam phone call about we were trying to reach you about your F-35's extended warranty. Cougar and 727 says Fighter Books, Art of the Kill by Pete Bonanni and Fighter Combat by Robert Shaw. Asada Carr says, "Can you see any F-16 or F-15 stuck in India? I rest my case. Don't go out with."
Oh, I love it, dude. I love it.
Vinay Kumar. The Brits also struggled with saying Tharun
No, that wasn't it. That definitely wasn't
so
it.
That was not it.
Anglicized it to Trivandrum. And it was the official name till 1991. Oh, we're dead naming now. Tom White says, recently heard at the Royal Navy HQ, we've been trying to reach you about your F-35's extended warranty. James says, completely off topic. I know U.S. and other air arms have the 3-year rule for assignments. My question is why? Why 3 years?
That's a great question. I've asked myself that question many times because right when you get super good at your job, they're like, nope, you got to go somewhere else and do something else.
There's probably a spreadsheet somewhere.
100%.
Justifies them.
They've planned a career out. It's called the path. And that's just that's the path to get as much checks in the blocks as we need for you to reach skipper, commander, whatever. They need to be roughly 3-year tours. But honestly, I don't know. That's just my guess.
It could be based off of Gilligan's Island, which was a 3-hour tour.
Sure. That'd be just as good of a reason.
I mean,
okay.
All right. Good talk. Alex, Aviation and Adventures.
Hey,
Alec.
Hey, Alex.
I got to go for a ride in a P-51. He's been in a P-51 and we haven't.
Dude, I'm
back in December. That thing, can your dad adopt me?
Yeah.
That thing had some power, but my favorite World War II plane is the Dauntless, and call Mater for Fat Amy too. That's funny. It's a reference to cars.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Skid says you 2 characters are going to Top Gun.
Oh, Skid. Nope. We both got the emails earlier saying we will not be going to Top Gun.
No, we're not going to any gun.
No.
Top, bottom,
nothing.
middle.
No.
Nothing. There will be no guns.
No gun. Or top.
No gun. No top. No nothing. Hey, let's do another topic. This should make some people happy.
Oh.
So, there's been a lot in the news lately about the India-Pakistan conflict. China is now accused of spreading the disinformation on the Rafale.
Shocking.
The intelligence findings suggest that Chinese defense attachés stationed in embassies across the world lobbied foreign governments, particularly those that have purchased or considering buying the Rafale jets, to question their performance and instead opt for Chinese-made alternatives. To catch everyone up, the claim made by Pakistan military, they made a very nice presentation that they shot down 6 aircraft, of which I think 2 or 3 were the Rafale, and they were using Chinese J-10s and J-17s, the JF-17, which is their joint fighter, and PL-15s, which is a Chinese missile, long range. And basically, the Salt's stock dropped significantly in this news. And we had the article where the Dassault CEO basically kind of said, yeah, we think something happened, but we don't know how many. And there was other news saying that it was a mechanical issue and had nothing to do with combat operations. But the French Defense Ministry has now said there's vast campaign of disinformation was launched against the Rafale, including social media posts, fake imagery, AI-generated content, even video game simulations to portray combat scenes. More than 1,000 social media accounts amplified the claims. Pakistan claims to have downed 5 aircraft during the clashes, including the 3 Rafales. The French Air Force chief, Jérôme Ballinger, stated that only 1 Rafale was lost, along with a Sukhoi and Mirage 2000. It was the first combat loss for the Rafale, and French is sold to 8 countries. But they've found no direct digital trail leaking disinformation campaign to the Chinese government. They point to coordinated messaging from Chinese embassies, defense officials as a clear sign of Beijing's involvement. It wasn't randomly targeted. It's undermining the French so that they can basically sell more aircraft. Gentlemen, Wombat, your thoughts?
Shocked. Cannot believe that there's disinformation out there. Breaking news.
Gonky, your thoughts?
Yeah, here, dude. Look at this. let's double down.
How long is that dude's arm?
A
It's-
Look
small
at where
cockpit.
he's.
It's a small cockpit.
yeah,
It's for the French. They're small people.
yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, they used I don't know, man. It's kind of like Wombat's jokingly, not jokingly saying or shocked, but
It's
I
stupid,
don't think
dude.
it's the this is not the first time or the last time that China's going to use social media and AI and uh propaganda. Allegedly, sorry. Yeah, what am I saying?
obviously.
Allegedly, these types of propaganda to make themselves look better and maybe make their influence decision making. So that's kind of what I think about it, man. I think it's
Well, I mean, okay, you asked me my thought. If on social media, the average neighborhood Karen can post about her life and make it look like it is a dream life, even though her husband's cheating on her and her life is a dumpster fire, you're telling me I'm not going to believe that the Chinese government can't also make stuff up? Like everything is made up now. Like there's no rhyme or reason to it. Just because you see something on social media or with AI or all, like, come on, this is so obvious that it's a ploy to help their own program out. Like that's the world we live in these days. Like if so.
yeah, I mean, we've talked about it. Like Mover said, the Pakistani Air Force, they put out a really nice presentation of what they did. They had quite a bit of details in there, and it was much better than the presentation the Indian military gave. But we really haven't seen any real. I mean, I haven't seen any real evidence.
There's some stuff from the Su-30. The Su-30 shoot down was pretty well covered.
And the fact that I think a lot of if airplanes were shot down, allegedly they happened within, their own countries. And so it would be easier to hide that. Like Mover was saying, we talked about the CEO there of Dassault or that make the Rafale came out, and he didn't say no, none were shot down. But I mean, I don't know. I still have no idea what actually happened as far as Rafales being shot down. But I wouldn't put it past, allegedly, I wouldn't put it past governments using propaganda to sway one way or another. And remember, I forget. I think it was some Iranian stuff, right? Remember the giant F-35 that, like, so with AI today, it's you can do some pretty convincing stuff and some pretty unconvincing stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah. One of the things that's interesting to me, if you see, I know this video is going to get the hate, right? Because anytime we talk about the Pakistan versus India stuff, people are like, well, you taking sides. I'm not taking sides.
No, we're not.
It doesn't matter. From an espionage perspective, intelligence, counterintelligence, all of this that we're operating in serves a purpose. The Chinese have been doing that in American politics, American stuff for quite a while. They've been doing it in other global theaters. They are in full court press right now trying to sell their aircraft. I mean, we've talked about 3 different air shows now, 3 different places where they've brought either the J-35, J-20, the models, not the actual aircraft, but the models.
Yep. And
they've been talking about orders being fulfilled and stuff. I mean, they are very much in the business of manufacturing and selling aircraft to foreign. And we've talked about it, the Iranians getting it. We just talked about this last week. So yeah, it's basically industrial espionage in that, I mean, not that they're stealing secrets, although that's a whole different story, but they are trying to influence markets with information. And I don't know if it's legit, right? Which we do believe to some extent. The Pakistanis were claiming things that legitimately happened. It worked. The equipment was the first time we had seen, PL-15s and the J-10 in action. So there is some validity to that, but it's the amplification, and it's there's always the 3 sides to every story that we're not getting necessarily the truth, like you talked about, Gonky. But the video game stuff, dude, DCS has gotten to the point where it's almost impossible to tell the difference. And we have seen that in the Ukraine, Russia. I mean, remember when early stages of the war, we were talking about the Ghost of Kyiv,
Yep.
You know, I mean, this is not the first nor last time people will use AI, video games, or doctored images to try to either promote an idea or encourage morale or do some. I mean, we live in an information warfare age. So what's not helping them is how dodgy India and Rafal have been when answering these questions, right? There's not been a direct, yeah, we did this on this date, this happened, we have this data, here's the data. It's been, well, we lost some aircraft. You know, it's been like this very vague kind of response, which just fuels the fire. I think when you come out and say, you know, this happened on this date and be honest about it, which I'm not saying the US would be honest about it. I'm just saying that it's not helping. Especially when, you know, let's face it, Pakistan and India are very online populace, and the level of troll farming and trash talking, like I think there's just you're talking a theater, and the Iranians are the same way. You know, they and Israel's the same way. Every theater, Ukraine, Russia. I mean, there are dedicated groups that all they do is try to spread disinformation to try to sway public opinion one way or the other. And in this case, they're trying to sell airplanes. I mean,
yeah. And I, you know, when I was doing a little bit of I was reading up on this here a little bit. The fact that so they just, I guess IOC is what that's not what China calls it, but the J-35 is now, I guess, officially one of their frontline fighters. So the U.S. and China are the only two countries that are fielding two 5th gen fighters as operational. So we've seen that they have the what's the bomber, the flying wing, it's not really a fighter.
J-36.
Yeah, the J-36. So I guess where I'm going with this is China's spending a ton of money on weapons, new airplanes, technologies. And I think kind of like what you're talking about, Mover, they want to sell airplanes to help recoup some of that investment. And then also, I mean, that's one way of building allies, right? And getting other countries to rely on you and getting leverage on other countries is like, you know, hey, if your Air Force flies all of our airplanes and 50 years from now we have a tiff, well, I have a little bit of leverage on you because we're not going to sell you parts of your airplanes.
You become Iran with F-5s and F-14s that are not that useful.
Right. So I think it's part of China's long-term plan on just, you know, having a bigger footprint and in global politics, really. So because I mean the how quickly they have advanced, especially the Air Force, because that's really what I care about. I'm an airplane guy. Has been pretty eye-opening the last 20 years.
Oh yeah, China is a formidable threat.
Yeah, it's industrial giant.
No doubt whatsoever. China is a juggernaut, and they are very capable and should not be underestimated.
Yes, definitely.
That's it. All right. From the audience, I set a car. China's aircraft comes with a window machine and cockpit, which will give you hot noodles for 50 cents. Amazing technology. Come on, man.
I bet they're good noodles, man.
Come on, man.
Authentic.
Tavin says, hey, Mover, he plans to add to your RC airplane heli hangar. I've got a T-Rex 700 free wing, 90 millimeter F-18 and 70 millimeter high rec. I would maybe do another Airwolf, but probably no fixed wing. I'm not that guy. Not that guy. Did we want to talk about this?
That's how I was going to tie Wombat's opinion into.
I think we beat that horse to death.
We have beat that horse, yeah.
All right, Wombat, you're up.
Oh, I'm not up for anything.
This is your topic.
It's your show.
No, you're guesting. See, it says it right here. Join Mover, Wombat, or Gonky, and Wombat in all caps. We put the emphasis on
Doug,
it.
bring it up. I'll try to read it.
Is this it?
Oh, man.
Somebody got triggered.
Spirit Airlines inspects 3 planes after fire suppression foam spills out at Detroit hangar.
Corrosive. It's very corrosive stuff too.
Oh,
It's
look
not
at
just-
that. Dude looks like. Oh,
Now, do you
no.
get the joke I made about the meme earlier?
About Netflix and chill.
Yeah.
Everything
See?
reminds
Oh.
me.
You know what's funny is it just literally just hit me.
You're welcome.
Your
well,
thoughts,
good.
Wombat.
So-
your thoughts.
Apparently what happened is it got like hit by lightning or some electrical thing triggered it. But I will tell you firsthand that did I trigger something in the
No,
chat?
I just read the mental health minute. I didn't even know we had one.
Oh.
Sorry.
We don't. I just
I
put that in
finally
there.
got
Go
that.
on. Go on.
Perfect.
Wombat. Sorry.
Perfect.
But I can tell you firsthand that those fire suppression systems do go off because I was in charge of running a change of command in my E2 squadron and set up the whole thing. And everybody was right in the middle of the skipper's speech, dressed in whites in formation. And we hear this pop go off down at the end of the hangar. And they just made their way down in an E2 hangar and blew every one of those and filled the hangar with that stuff.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and it was all from the heat warmers for the food. The infrared.
Oh
picked it up.
my god!
Are you?
Wow.
Dude, it
And-
doesn't it fill a hangar like top to bottom?
It does.
Like,
Everybody had to
doors are
run out.
closed?
Like we were saving kids. Like it was. But the funny part
What?
about the whole thing is our skipper at the time, who went on to be an admiral or still is an admiral, was this very, very large guy, very tall guy. And just had this really deep voice. And he's giving his speech to leave. Like he's the outgoing skipper. And he's standing up there and he has this just monotone, very deep voice. And you hear like pop, and this thing goes off. And he looks and he's like, oh, damn. There was no emotion, but he knew what was coming. And dude, these things just started firing off. And it was like everybody. But what's funny is you learned a lot about your squadron mates during that time. Because there were two department heads that I swear knocked over little children to get out of the way. And I mean, we're all covered in this stuff. Dude,
George Costanza style.
It was very George Costanza. And like, we're trying to get kids out of there. Because I mean, it's highly corrosive. It's horrible for the planes. Now, the good news is it really didn't affect our fleet much because due to the change of command, most of our planes were not in our section of the hangar. They were outside. But all the fleet squadrons were with us.
Oops.
So, yeah. So, hey, it happens. I mean, I'll tell you what, we didn't have a fire that day. So I guess it operated perfectly.
Dude,
But
he was probably like, thank goodness I'm out of
What's
here.
it?
You
does
got
it have a smell? Like, does it have like a unique? Is it like?
yeah, it did. It didn't smell good in
strong?
the planes.
Your clothes smell like it forever.
You threw out. Those uniforms got trashed. They were.
Wait,
No,
white.
I'm not kidding.
It's-
Yeah, those uniforms were toast. Well, it's
I mean-
funny because the foam is white, but it actually caused the uniforms to turn almost like a reddish pink color, like because of
Perfect,
the
dude.
fire.
for October. You could wear it.
This was back in 2005. I don't think that
Breast
was a
cancer
thing
existed back then.
I don't know.
Pink's the color
but-
you're thinking about. Remember?
yeah. So
That's what he said.
It was how that didn't tank my career right then was, but I'll never
Hey,
forget that, man.
Have you told the VA about this? This could be a
Dude, this is
This
worse
could
than the
be a-
burn pit.
this could be
Yeah.
a VA disability for you.
The PTSD from the
Maybe that's why I don't like fireworks because of that thing going off. I mean, but dude, no kidding. I was standing in attention, and I could close my eyes right now and just see our skipper being like, the one popped, and everybody's like, "What the hell was that?" He looks and he does his thing, and I look down the corner of my eye, and I just see these things firing in succession as they come down, just marching down the hangar at us. You know how big those hangars are. I mean, I'm just like, oh man. It was pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie.
Perfect.
Like from a JO perspective,
Yeah.
it was hilarious.
Because
Like,
nothing's going to happen to you.
Not my fault.
Did
I
anything
didn't
happen to
write the thing.
anybody? Anybody get fired?
No. It was a mistake. Somebody tried to put the heat warmer on for the food for the reception after the
Okay.
reception was canceled. because the food was not edible.
The command cursed.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it
All
was.
right.
So it can happen, is all I'm saying.
Thank you for your stories.
Yeah, that was.
We're sorry to Spirit Airlines, who's
Yeah.
already having enough trouble as it is.
Yeah, I feel
Those
bad,
airplanes
because-
they're going to be less valuable on the open market.
Well, and it does take quite a bit of cleaning.
So
And-
they were having a fire sale and the fire suppression. No, it's too sad.
Literally.
I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry.
So, yeah.
Man, can't catch a break. We feel for you.
Yeah.
We're sorry. So hey, Air India is back in the news. This time on departure on 12 June, just 38 hours after the deadly Air India Flight 171 crashed, which, by the way, in 4 days, they're supposed to have their initial report, which doesn't sound like it's going to say much. But during takeoff, the Boeing 777 flight 187 lost 900 feet in altitude, triggered the stall alert, don't sink, JIPWAS alert, and they had a dangerous loss of lift. They managed to stabilize the aircraft and then completed the flight, but they've been grounded by India's aviation regulator. The 777 took off amid thunderstorms in Delhi at 2:56 a.m. Reportedly lost about 900 feet and triggered the critical warnings. Officials familiar with the incident tell the outlet that the aircraft experienced multiple in-flight alerts shortly after takeoff. Stick shaker, JIPWAS don't sink, and then they just kept on trucking. There's a picture of a Air India 777. Wombat, your thoughts?
I mean, it's obviously, thank God they didn't crash, and they did whatever they did to recover and save those people. I can't speak. I don't know 777. I don't know Boeing. I mean, stall after liftoff like that. I mean, how close were they to the ground? Did it say?
They lost 900 feet.
Yeah. So, I mean, but it just said after takeoff, which could technically all of the flight happens after takeoff. So that could, that's not very specific. Like,
yeah, it doesn't say.
You know, so I mean, I will tell you, like, it's, man, I mean, there's so many factors there. Just the time of day you're taking off.
Well,
I mean,
if the
there's so many things.
Ground proximity warning went off, it had to be
close or
relatively close. Yeah.
So I'm not familiar with it. I'm happy they gained control. That is not, that's not an easy scenario at that time of body clock time. And, you know, I'm sure, and I hope I never find out firsthand, but I'm sure working for an airline that just had a major thing like that happen, everybody's, you know, the culture has to be shook. So it's scary, man. It's really scary.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, like Wombat said, thank God, like they recovered and everybody's okay. That's awesome.
Sure.
I'm always curious in modern jetliner like that. How did you get to that point? Because like Mover talked about the 7-8 and how it is a amazing airplane as far as keeping you flying.
777 also
in the center of the envelope, as I like to say. Like these airliners are designed to do the opposite of what we did in the military. Like,
yeah, and the 777, like Mover just said, is the exact same way. So I'm like Wombat. I can't speak Boeing specific, but there has to be some really major either missed items or mismanaged items from the pilots, or some sort of major mechanical problem that would put the airplane in that scenario. So that's kind of, in my mind, I'd be curious what actually caused that stall and altitude loss. And then Wombat, you hit on a good thing, is this happened within relative close proximity, right, to the 7-8 crash. And then, you know, looking at it as just an outsider looking in, and as somebody who went to Navy safety school, like maybe there is something in the culture, in the training, right? So we don't know. And I'm just that's pure speculation, but you know, you have to just wonder, two jets on takeoff or relatively close to the ground. having some issues. One of them didn't turn out very well, but I mean, I'm sure the investigation is probably looking at the training culture, at Air
It
India.
better be. It better be looking at all the culture. I mean, it can't be a good place to work right now. Like, it just can't. Like,
Yeah, under a lot of scrutiny. So, and Mover, like you said, in 4 days, right? We're supposed to have something else. So they've had the black boxes. I think they've been digging into those things since the 24th of June. So, I mean, hopefully something comes out of it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know though. What do you think?
It's interesting. It brings up thunderstorms, right? Because the first thing I thought of was wind shear.
More of that, yeah.
Or a
But
microburst or something.
yeah, the question I had would be, did they have the radar turned on? Because on the 78 or 777, I'm sure it's the same because it's the same radar. You get wind shear alerts, predictive or actual, on takeoff roll or in taking off, and you would hear it if they're hearing "don't sink," which it's not necessarily that they stalled. They may not have stalled the aircraft. I mean, stick shaker does not mean stall.
No.
You know, that does not necessarily mean stall. Now losing 900 feet. So I would wonder if they got into wind shear and either didn't have the radar on to warn them, or
Does it not come on automatically?
you have to turn the radar on. You can not turn the thing on. If it's on, it'll automatically all the
Now
the
you're
features.
making me guess my systems, because I'm like, I think in ours it'll give wind shear alerts even if it's not on.
That's a good question. I don't know.
Certain versions of what I fly.
Now you're
'Cause
getting into the 80 knots to whatever it comes.
Yeah. We have, well, now I know our procedures are to take off with the radar on.
Yeah.
But I want to say that if it's off, it'll still break through, but I don't know.
The reason
I just
say
turn
that,
it on because
but it could be omitted from the report.
Sure.
But then why are they grounding these guys? Right? Like, you're thinking,
yeah, there's something going on. There's for sure something going on.
There's also the Boeing-ism where and this is on the 787, but it could apply to the 777. Both aircraft, Boeing has the VNAV. If you capture the wrong altitude, and if you've got the wrong altitude, like if it's the field elevation instead of your first fix, like if you'd reset it and didn't reset it, when it tries to level off, it'll pull the auto throttles back. Like it'll start throttling back, which if you're not paying attention, you could get into a stick shaker thing. I mean, remember this happened to American crews in Honolulu.
Yep.
Yeah.
What was it? Maui.
Yeah. And they almost crashed.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is not like, oh, hey, we're going to crap on the Indian Airlines.
No.
I mean, this has happened before. And some of it is, like you talked about, systems related, where you plug the wrong thing in. The jet did what, hey, we've warned you it'll do.
Yeah.
And then nobody caught it
what you asked it to do.
Because it's 2 a.m. and body clock, like you talked about, they're fatigued. Or a wind shear microburst situation where maybe they didn't get the predictive wind shear. They didn't get the wind shear alert. The only reason I kind of discount that is because to me, that's an easy, hey, they did an escape maneuver. They only lost 900 feet. If there's, I agree with you guys, there's more to the story. But then again, right, some countries and some places automatically blame the pilot, and they're going to want to, shoot first, ask questions later, versus maybe a better safety culture where you're like, hey, what happened before we take enforcement action?
Well, and additionally to that is, even if it was a wind shear issue and they did the escape maneuver and they lost 900 feet and they saved the day, what if it was because they didn't turn the radar on? Or what if it was because the radar failed in that form or something, right? I mean, could very well be all of that, which is obviously...
Or it could just be simple pilot error, right? You take off
100%.
hot and heavy, tailwinds. I mean, there's all kind of factors that can get you in a situation 100%. Where you're on the backside of the curve and you shouldn't have been there.
And at 2:30 in the morning, lots of them rear their ugly heads. So that's a tough one to be flying.
Did the article say where were they going? Vienna?
I forget.
I think they were going to Vienna. I wonder, is that a 3-pilot crew or a 2-pilot crew? Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. So I'm just happy everybody made it out. Thank God. But
Yeah.
that's
At least, yeah, it could have been bad. It could have been another,
Oh, dude.
like
Yeah.
a week later.
No.
yeah. That's.
I think they probably put them on administrative leave just because of the optics of it all.
Well,
Probably.
but did they do that for all the early returns? Because remember, Air India, like right after they had a 787 with an engine thing, and people were like, "Is it the same thing?" And it's like, well, I mean, if you guys knew how often in the airline world early returns and stuff, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
stuff like that happens. The only reason it's in the news now is because you've got sky spotters that are watching Flight Aware and the ATC comms, and then all the YouTube channels and all that stuff are now covering it. There was a just last week there was a American Airlines Airbus that took off out of Puerto Rico.
Saw that. Never made it.
One of the passengers texted something about rest in peace, and that caused a scare. So they're like, okay, we're turning back. If you listen, and you can hear the ATC comms of the FO or pilot monitor, whoever was talking to ATC, like, well, yeah, we're going to declare an emergency because we're going to come back heavyweight. It's a heavyweight landing.
Sure.
Not because, and they're like, and we're going to probably need them to meet us at the gate. We don't think it's a credible threat, but you never know. We gotta do it now. And they're saying that, but 20 years ago, you never would have known. This wouldn't have been the news.
No. Nope.
Even this Air India 900 feet thing, I don't think this would have made the news last year.
Unless like one of your big like CNN or whatever would have
somebody got hurt. Unless a flight attendant got hurt when they fell 900 feet or somebody.
Well, they only fall the height of the cabin mover. They don't go the whole 900.
Thank you for the science.
Science.
Thanks, Mr. Wizard. Appreciate that.
That's why it's safer to be in small planes.
It's true. Yeah, there's less.
Yeah, but you can't jump like the elevator.
That's true.
Like Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah.
Oh man.
C-Trot says, OT question, the F-47, do you think it will have a gun? Should it have a gun? I think it should have a laser.
Yes. It should have a laser and a gun.
Yeah. It's
every fighter.
Don't worry, it's never going to get built, so don't worry about it. It's fine.
It's not a fighter if it doesn't have a gun.
Steve likes the Rhino, says, this is what happens when you put teenage airplanes in a hangar alone.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Spirit thing.
Kevin Morgan says, microburst?
Maybe.
Could be.
I mean, that's the first I had heard about that Air India, but that to me it sounds, I agree with you. But the fact that they mentioned thunderstorms.
Yeah, maybe.
But then the question is, why did they ground them?
Just could be the optics, man. They got to do
something. Could be optics.
Right?
It could be that they took off in a situation they shouldn't have taken off in.
Yeah. Right. That's a good point too. I mean, maybe they should not have taken off. I
would fully expect to be grounded if I took off in wind shear alerts. Yeah,
I've been dragged through a thunderstorm, and the guy got an air medal, and I just got a Navy Marine Corps Achievement Medal, and I brought him home safely.
The NAM is one of the greatest medals in all of the militaries. So
yeah,
that's why so many people have them. So
everyone has one.
Everyone.
Thanks, Gonky. Appreciate that. You saved a man, and you're out there.
You saved a man.
I did save him.
I feel like we've touched on something that's very sensitive.
I saved his life, Gonky.
I'm not saying you didn't.
You just scoffed that. You weren't there. You weren't there at Strike for Trump.
Read all about it.
It was in the newspaper.
I talked to the man that you saved.
I know. He's very thankful. But he doesn't contact me on the anniversary. Like it's, I feel like every anniversary he should call me and say, "Hey man, sorry for dragging you through that thunderstorm." Even though you said, "Say again," when I said, "Why aren't you on board yet?" Like I was in Radar Trail, dude. I was very happy to just, watch him go through the thunderstorm by himself. And he's like, "Aren't you going to get on board yet?" Like real snidely too. And I'm like,
"Yeah,
okay." And then I got struck by lightning too.
Nice.
Renee says, off topic, mover, Texas is seeing the blessings of a helicopter pilots. God bless y'all. Speaking of that, last minute edition. Doug, is that what you got right there? No.
Hang on. Let me see if I can get it.
Yeah, all that flooding that's going on in Texas, that's terrible.
Well, a helicopter hit a drone.
Out there?
Mm-hmm.
Like while they were doing rescue ops?
ops. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. Dude, you guys need to watch it. It's not really for this channel, I guess, but there's a great story of the first Coast Guard rescue swimmer that showed up on station.
I think it's 100% for this channel. I was going to bring that up. I think that is a fantastic story. Like that dude, what a hero, man.
Yeah. Rock
hero.
Star.
Like
first guy triaging patients, getting everything set up, giving comfort to those that needed it. I mean,
165 rescues or something ridiculous.
Then they interviewed him and he's like naming his crew, you know, taking no credit, just a humble patriot.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
He's from Jersey too. Don't want to brag, but we do raise him pretty good in Jersey.
There you go. Coast Guard rescue swimmer hailed as a hero. Wow. Look at mustache. See, he's got a mustache.
The mustache actually saved 164 of the people. That's the true story. There.
Officer Scott Ruskin's first mission. He's 26 years old.
Dang,
he was he left a previous career before joining and going to rescue swimming school. What a badass.
No kidding.
Dude, man. Rescue swimmers, I'm sorry, man. Like, they're unreal. I had the distinct pleasure of getting stashed in Pensacola at rescue swimmer school before I started API.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And
That's
I will tell you, like the training. I mean, if there's ever any rescue swimmer that remembers me from there, they will, because they gave me the little shorts and I had to run around in those with them in PT, and it was a sight. But it was those guys and
they're pretty hardcore.
Oh my dude.
Yeah.
It made me feel so much safer operating around the boat, knowing that was the people that were looking for us. I mean, just unbelievable. So
he was the only rescuer on site, had no communication due to poor radio reception, no self-service.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That is
yeah. I mean, think of how bad this situation's horrible.
Yeah.
Think of how bad it could have been if not for one individual. Like that.
No, but Doug, do you have that article about the drone? Oh, not seeing it.
Uh-oh.
Well, a drone hit a helicopter.
Did it? There it is.
Helicopter emergency lands in Kerrville after being hit by private drone. So they were conducting emergency operations in Kerrville first to make emergency landing. Drone was being flown illegally in restricted airspace, leading to a critical piece of emergency response equipment being taken out. Identity of drone operator is unknown and is unclear if charges will be filed against them.
Should be.
And this is very similar. Remember, we talked about this last year when the fires were happening and the drone hit the Canadian water bomber.
Yeah.
And they found that dude and charged him.
Yeah. Well, dude, I mean, you could bring down a rescue asset and kill more people. I mean,
to me, you know, I get it if you're trying to help, but you know, they close off the airspace for a reason. And if you're legitimately operating with drone ID and all that stuff, a lot of them won't let you take off. You know, a lot of these new drones will not allow, you know, it'll do the checks and all that stuff, and it won't let you take off. But it's your responsibility as a drone operator to know the airspace in which you're operating. And if it's restricted, it's probably restricted for a reason. And you're just trying to film to try to get your clicks while people are out there doing the work. And just like in North Carolina, where Cletus was out there with his helicopter and Greg Biffle and everybody, you know, that was a huge rescue effort, and they're doing the same thing here. Like, just get out of the way. Go home. Let the men work and women.
Assuming that's what it was. I mean, assuming that the story's correct and it wasn't actually some drone from an agency that was part of the rescue mission, which could be, but I mean, based on what we've read, I agree 100%. It's like, you know, at times like this, look, the internet doesn't matter. Your social media doesn't matter. Clicks don't matter. There's people's lives at stake. Like, yeah, just get out.
I disagree with you, Wombat. I don't think it's going to be anybody legit because...
No, I don't think it is either. I'm saying if the story's correct, I agree.
The legit people don't do stupid stuff like that. Because, I mean, I've operated with the sheriff's office in the helicopter with people that have their own rescue drones, and they've told us straight up, we cannot operate this legally. That's why you're here. You know what I mean? Because they know the interoperability. So I doubt it, but you might be right. Gonky, what you got?
No, man. I mean, they close down the airspace for a reason, so they can safely rescue as many people as possible, or, you know, fight the flood, the fire, whatever's going on. They don't need, an outside threat.
One
I don't know,
more.
Mover. Yeah, I mean, Mover, you would know, right? I mean, they have some sort. There's somebody who controls the airspace, right, for the rescue operation, right? If it's search and rescue, if it's, and that, like, he's got to know what assets are flying around in his airspace, because there's planning, there's deconfliction, right? I mean, there's coordination going on between rescue assets. So, if you're out there with your drone, I mean, dude, that's a foul.
Anytime something like this happens, the federal government will put a TFR on there.
Right.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, when we had the Super Bowl and Mardi Gras, we had a TFR that came, like, I live on the north shore of Lake Pontchartrain, and the TFR extended. You could not fly a drone on the lakefront because of the Super Bowl. I mean, they'll extend it and they'll enforce it too. If they can track you down, it's going to be hefty fines and penalties. It's not going to be
as
fun.
It should be.
It's just like lasering aircraft. People think that's funny until they get tracked down by
Till it's not.
somebody with a lot of tech that walks them on. Like, if we can see you, we can know your address. It's not.
Yeah.
The system tells you. Like, I put the pod on it. Anyway. All right. Well, that's a show. Oh, Renee says, my brother was a rescue swimmer. They're badass. Thanks, Renee. That's
100%.
awesome.
Tell him thank you.
PJs are badass too.
They are.
Yes.
They are.
I always love that show with the PJs about the Sandy mission, not the Sandy mission, the Pedro mission.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're a different level. That's just
so that others may live.
Yeah.
Are we doing this, Gonky?
No, yeah.
Do it. Do it.
I don't know what to do. I just put that in there as a placeholder for Mover to laugh. I was trying to get Mover to laugh, because laughing helps you, man. Right?
There you go.
We don't laugh enough, right?
What's it like to be washed up, has been nobody,
and be happy about it?
That's a lot to ask, dude.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. I don't have anything. I mean, like we talked about at the beginning of the show, man. If you let it bother you,
I thought for sure you were going to get picked.
No,
because you got picked for the last one.
Yeah, but that's different, dude. I mean, that's because I'm a Navy guy, and those were Navy guys. Like the Air Force, I've noticed there's the Air Force handles things differently.
You don't say.
Yeah.
But look, like I said, dude, we're old. There's younger, better applicants.
Not better.
That's true. They're not better, but they're younger, which the perception is they're better.
Oh, God. Can we all just show our New Balance sneakers and cell phone cases on our belts?
My jean shorts.
You sound like a bunch of old, crusty boomer captains.
Look, man, I'll say this. I have a lot to be thankful for, given, I mean, there's health problems going on in my family that are probably not going to turn out well. There's like my buddy, one of my buddies just told me his dad has stage 4 cancer, has a couple months to live. Right. I mean, there's all kinds of like really bad news going on in Gonky's little world. So something like this, dude, it's not going to affect me.
It wasn't meant to be, guys. I mean, it wasn't meant to be. There's no way. So, because everybody here just wants me to soapbox, and you guys obviously don't want to talk about it. So I'll soapbox. There's no way you can get to the age of us and think that there's not something bigger in play and that you can't control things. Okay. Because and I'm going to tie it to something I've done recently, and then I'm going to make you not purposely feel bad about worrying about this and hear me out. So I just did a Wake for Warriors event, working with veterans. It's awesome. Those guys are fantastic. But what I did, and I think I told you guys this offline, but about a week prior to that, I worked with Camp Firefly. Okay. It's a program for sick kids, and I really had never heard of it, but we take these families out on boats. We took this little girl, couldn't have been 4 years old, out on a boat. Okay. And when we work with the veterans that are wounded and that, have lost a limb or whatever, PTSD, whatever they're battling, visible or invisible, you can look at those individuals and you can feel bad for them, but you can also feel proud of the fact that those are individuals that volunteered to serve this country as Mover says, sign the check, could be up to and including their life, and they live with those. Those were conscious things. When I worked with this little girl and she was out on a tube riding, and then my buddy Dave took her out surfing for the first time and all this, she's 4 with stage 4 cancer. Like, that little girl never did anything wrong to anybody. She never did anything wrong. She does not deserve that. That is out of her control. It hit me in a different way. And what it made me realize, and indirectly hopefully will make you both realize, is all of the problems that we have all had, myself included, with all of the times I've been rejected, which is why I joked about it, doesn't matter. It doesn't. I mean, there's so many bigger things in this life than who we are. None of it matters. You just have to appreciate what you have. And would this have been a cool opportunity to go fly these planes? I'm sure it would have. Of course it would have. But think of all the other cool opportunities that you two have gotten to already do in your life that 99.9% of this population of this world would kill to do. Right? I mean, your followers, a large amount, both on this channel and Mover, your personal channel, would literally kill to give just the chance to do just a sliver of what you've already done in your career. But here's the thing, while we are older and while there are younger individuals that are potentially more qualified based on the qualifications they're looking for these jobs, that doesn't mean you guys are done. Your lives aren't over, right? Your influence isn't over. Your effect on the people around you and this world and the next generation is nowhere near over. So does it suck on the individual level? Of course it does. Nobody likes not getting what they want, right? I mean, that's human behavior. But at the end of the day, guys, like, you have so much more to be thankful for than being upset about this. I'm upset for you. I wanted you guys to get it, but it is what it is. And there's a reason that it happened. And that reason may not be clear to you right now and probably isn't, but I promise you in the future, it will become clear and it will make a lot of sense. And all of the feelings that you have right now will go away. But right now it's hard. And I validate that it's hard right now. Like, I understand that it's hard. As somebody who has been rejected far more times than I can count in my career, and not just by women, but also a lot of women, I appreciate, I know the feelings you're going through. It sucks. You feel like you're just beating your head against the wall and that you're down on yourself and all that. But I'm telling you, I'm here to tell you, as the outside perspective, for both of you, there are far greater things. There's a reason for this. Just accept that. Own the bad feelings that you have inside. Own it, because that's your feelings, but put it in a box and move on, because there's something out there. And I can't personally wait to see what it is. So.
Well, thanks, man. The big thing is I don't identify myself through work, so that helps.
And you never have, like, you never have, you know what I mean? And that is one of the things that I love about you. Like, you have never identified your persona. Other people may have that didn't know you well, but you've never identified through that job. And that's not an easy thing to do in the job you did. It is not.
I know.
Because it is real easy to identify your whole persona with just the title of fighter pilot, because it's a cool persona. But I feel in my gut, and I've said this on previous shows about previous rejections and previous hard times, I feel in my gut there's something bigger out there. I believe it, and I know it's going to come true. I can't wait to see what it is.
Doug, any comments?
Like a kid got lectured.
I'm not even going to try to follow that.
Okay, well, cool.
What he said. Oh,
what he said. Yeah. Times 2.
This is why I don't come on, because I just get.
Wow.
Because I'm serious. I'm being genuine.
I'm serious too.
Oh, thanks, man.
I'm being genuine to you guys. Like, I genuinely am. I think that there are far greater things in your future. And I also think if you sit here and wallow in this, there's far greater things that people are going through in life that are far worse than this. Just think of the 4-year-old girl. I'll send you a picture. She said, fun fact, her mom said that she had never smiled in her life. First time she smiled was when she was on that boat, surfing, laughing. I mean, dude, Like, I'd trade all the stuff I've done in my life just to be able to have that opportunity again. It was unbelievable. So, and Mover, I know you affect people, and you know you affect people. The stuff you do at Luna and all that, like, dude, come on, man. Like, you have done so much greatness.
Just read the comments, Mover. You affect people.
Well, you also affect people in a good way. So, I mean, is that pulling G's in a slick jet? No, but dude, at the end of the day, man, you can't feel bad about the goodness that you've done. You just can't. I'm sorry. Like, if you were a douche, I'd tell you.
No, I seriously have nothing to add to that. He is totally on point.
Well, cool.
All right. Well, that's a show.
That's a show. Yeah.
Tune in next week for the next beef. That Boomer's mad at me for what I said.
He's not mad. He's not mad at you.
It's always you're mad at me. I'm never mad. I don't have a beef. I beef with no one. Well, except for I could.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true.
That one guy in the comments.
Yeah, wait a minute. No, there's that guy too, and that's
and then there's quite a few people.
Yeah. See, we're now identifying who's the problem here.
Wow, Wombat.
It's like I used to say to the captains: if you, as a captain, have 4 ex-wives, maybe it's not the ex-wife's fault, right? What's the common denominator? No, I'm just kidding.
Dude.
Mover, you draw a lot of attention, so there's going to be people you beef with, but that doesn't make you a bad person at all. Period. So, good show. And I'm sorry you didn't get it. I wish you guys could have. Honestly, it would have been cool, just for the stories and content alone. So now I'll have to keep pulling the sled on content and keeping this show going for a little longer, so you come up with something else cool to do. But I'm here for you guys. That's what I do.
Perfect. Mover?
Sure. You want me to hit the button?
Hey, we'll see you guys next week.
Hold on. We got some stuff from the audience. Lebre says, Bucks for Wombat's wisdom. Don't read this.
But you,
son of a bitch.
But you read it. Yeah,
that's
you're going to have to refund them.
Work.
Yeah.
That's not
I don't think you understand how this works.
It's not how any of this works.
Doug actually did if I had never found Mover's channel, I would have never found that I really can do aviation. I may never explore one of my oldest dreams.
Cool. That's awesome.
I mean,
Wombat hit me right in the feels with that heat seeker, says Cowboy.
I'm going to have to go back and actually listen to what I said. I kind of blacked out like Will Ferrell, old
Candy
school.
Lion says, y'all make me want to be a better person. Me too.
Me too. Yeah.
I'm not reading that, Doug. That's out of car says, guys, you must doing some things right. People following you from across the world, just like me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Thanks for your support, man. It's awesome.
Thanks. And we're happy that you're the one guy in Turkey that doesn't hate us.
Sorry. I'm sorry, Turkey.
At least it's a car guy.
My public opinion. Sorry.
If anybody knows how to activate Windows, please.
Please
PC load letter.
To the white courtesy. I'm tired of looking at it. Activate Windows. Go to settings. I tried. I've got a license. It just forgot about it and it won't go back. Oh God.
You guys.
So that's it for today. We're gonna do a show next week. Is next week when you got to do the thing?
I think we're good for next Monday, man.
Okay.
So yeah, thanks everybody for joining us tonight. Wombat.
Yeah,
thanks for joining
Wombat.
Thanks for
Please
having
join
me.
us
I'll see you after 2 more beefs in 3 months.
No, you see, that's you. I ask you and you don't come, and then
it's because you have all these other good tactical fighter pilot spine ripper call sign guests on. I can't compete with that.
We'll have you back on, dude.
All right.
So
all right. Well, good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. We'll see you.
See you next week.